What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. I am your host, Ben Thomas. I've got a great panel for us today, and I've got some fun warm-up topics as well as a warm-up game. I have a Mandela effect all set up, and I'm curious to see how the guys are going to look at these images, but also how we can relate maybe to figures and figure photography and all of that good stuff. But we also have Hot Toys news, entertainment news, in-art news, all of the things. So guys, stick around. If you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get 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 nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
All right, so let's get our first guest of the night in the house with us. You may know him as somebody who has some amazing videography and a great YouTube channel that's starting up. He's making his appearances everywhere. We've got Philly from Figurecraft over on YouTube here with us today again. Good to see you, buddy. How's it going?
What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to this. So great to be here.
So happy to have you here. I see that our other panelists are trying to come in and out, so I don't know if they're having some technical difficulties, so we'll hang on for a couple minutes to get them all in the door. But dude, I'm so happy to have you back. I was just mentioning kind of backstage, I saw your video of all of your JAZZINC Batmobiles in your display. Like, you gotta tell us, like, what's the process for a video like that? Because that was awesome, dude. It was awesome stuff.
Luckily, I have a pretty big space, so I was able to kind of get all the vehicles, line them up together, and just kind of one at a time, and then put them all together in one shot. It required a pretty wide lens in order to get that shot, because they are pretty large vehicles. And It's funny, somebody in the comments mentioned that I probably should have included myself in the thumbnail to kind of show the scale of it, and I totally forgot. But next time I do a video, I'll make sure I put myself in there, because when you see these in person, it's a different experience versus when you see them in a video or a photo. So they're huge. They're 1/6 scale vehicles, so they're pretty large. And when you have, I think I had 5 or 6, that's something really, really big. So
yeah, it's interesting you mentioned like the scale, right? Because I just recently did a this or that video on these Batman armories. And, like, I had the 1.0 Dark Knight Armory back in the day, and, like, that thing's footprint was epic. And it's not even a vehicle. I mean, it's just kind of a standing display. And I've had a couple people ask me, like, Ben, do you recommend both? Like, should I have one or the other? And it's like, well, if you've got, FU money, like, definitely have both if you can. But at the same time, like, how much space do you have in your display? Like, how much are you willing to commit real estate wise to that much display of the Dark Knight armories, right? As cool as they are. And then when you look at vehicles, I feel the same way. Like my DeLorean, it's actually on the small side in terms of some of these cars, right?
It is. I mean, we're looking this one right here. It's I was surprised how small it was, but that compared to the BVS Batmobile, that dwarfs next to it. So it takes a lot of planning, and to like, for example, people were just talking about we're possibly getting the Avatar figures, and a lot of people are not getting those because they're almost like 4 scale statues. So a lot of people, I'm surprised, because I mean, you have to plan for the space because it's very limited. And for me, unfortunately, like, I had my Hot Toys 1989 Batmobile. I had to get rid of that. I can't have both because the new one's coming in from JAZZINC in August. So I had to get rid of that one in order to coordinate the space. So there you go.
The JAZZINC one's going to be a wild amount of space too, just like, because it's even bigger than the original Hot Toys one, right? Which is crazy. It's actually it was the biggest deterrent I had. I had justified the price in my mind's eye. I'd put the money aside for it. I'd even been saving, and then seeing the measurements, I was like, okay, I need to try and figure out where in the apartment I could put this. And I measured out like tables, I measured out counters, I measured out like my TV display out there, like desks. And it was, I mean, it's the size of a small couch, like lengthwise, like it's wild. So
it's funny. There was a point in my time in my collection where I wanted to build a cabinet where they can rotate 360 degrees, and I just couldn't do it. It's just too big. But that would be something in the future that I can do, that I can actually build a full, 48 by 48 inch cabinet where you can see the vehicle actually rotate, sort of kind of how it does in the Batcave. That'd be something else. So for now, it's space is very limited, but hopefully in the future, I get something, a bigger home, I can do that for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see more of your display, especially as it kind of continues to grow, because you already have a really amazing display. And I always find like even every 3 to 6 months, it's amazing how displays change and evolve. And as pieces come in, you have to find new space and everything. So for me, the collection tours always stand out because it's just that kind of breadth of what do you do once all the cool shit arrives, right?
I filmed one at the beginning of the year, and it's already been 6 months, and it's already different. So I gotta do another one, I guess.
Wild. And I do see our other panelists are trying to join. I think Pete just joined into the back. Classy Thomas keeps popping in and out, so I don't know if he's having connection issues or whatever, guys, but he's trying to class up the stream with us. We're gonna have to stand by for Mr. Thomas. Let's get Pete in, though. Pete looks dangerously sassy in the dark here. How you doing, Pete? Can you hear us, good sir? Are you with us? I don't know if he can hear us. I feel like I can see his glasses floating, but I can't see you, buddy.
I know.
He's coming in and out. Let's see if Classy Thomas works. Classy, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay. Were you having connection problems?
Yeah, I changed up my streaming setup just a little bit, and I guess that the settings are a little bit different because of how I configured it.
Oh, okay.
So when I tried to come in, I couldn't hear anything through my headphones, so I was having to do a little troubleshooting backstage. So my apologies for my tardiness.
Oh, no worries at all. Check your settings, Classy. You almost sound like you're not coming through your microphone. If you want to tap your microphone, maybe just to see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have the cardioid on?
Say what?
The cardioid version, so it looks like a little upside down butt or heart. Let's take a look. Oh, you're out now.
How's that?
We'll leave it there. I think that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Maybe I can
All
adjust
good.
these little things or something like that.
Turn it down just a little bit. You turned it up a little too high, buddy.
How's that? Is that better?
Perfect. You're perfect. We're doing live audio here, guys. Thanks for bearing with us. We appreciate it. It's been a couple weeks since we've had you in the stream with us, Classy. Last week you were in the chat getting nuts with us, but good to have you back, dude. How you been doing?
Good to be back. Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. I've been, last week y'all were kind of a little heavy on Star Wars, so that's not quite my wheelhouse. So I decided just to kind of hang out in the chat, and I was working on my Maji cases, and I have them set up, and I'm setting up some garage shelving, and have just been putting figures in it. So I'm kind of happy about that. I'm pretty sure that I'll be doing a little bit of a room tour. The one thing I did discover, though, I don't know if you've ever been here, Ben, and Philly, in looking at your extensive collection, you might be able to relate to what I'm saying. But I put the figures out in the cases and realized that I had hardly made a dent in what I have, and I had to slap myself in the forehead and say, I have too many figures.
Yeah, interesting.
So I'm either going to have to rotate them, or I'm going to have to buy a bigger house.
That's funny. We're just talking about that.
Oh man, and it's crazy because there's new stuff coming in that I want, and so I just have to figure out how to best do it. And I might have to change this setup and actually put some shelves behind me, and have a wall of shelves, which I kind of was trying to avoid. But I don't know. I guess I'll figure it out sooner or later.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, dude, it's good to see you. I know sometimes being on the show here, we talk about all the things that we want, so I'm sure we're going to enable the shit out of you all after, dude.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
We're good there. But, guys, we have a big show planned, so I do want to jump into it. I'm sure Pete will make his appearance again once he finds his way out of the dark. Let's get on with our warm-up topic today. This popped up online for me, and, it grabbed my attention. because I'm constantly thinking about figures, right? We're talking about 1/6 scale all the time, and we're always talking about, what's maybe our definitive figure or likeness. What's our preference? Oh wow, that one seems so much more accurate than the last. I was looking at my DX12 yesterday, my Batman, because I'm trying to decide whether I want to upgrade it to the Armory set, guys. And I've got the original Armory sculpt on that DX12 body with a Jackson Jew cape, and I love it. And I posted the figure online and, got lots of likes and everything. It's a cool Batman. But then I'm looking at these new Batmans going, I don't know if I need it. I don't know if to my eye it's as accurate as it should be. Is it still going to require further updates? Are we going to see another Dark Knight in 6 months from now? Like, at what point do we stop? And so I saw these Vader helmets on this post, and it prompted me to think about maybe a warm-up topic. Because when I look at all the Vader helmets, once again, as much as I love Darth Vader, I always forget he's had this many variations in the look of the mask itself. So even right here on the screen, this is technically 6 scale figures you could try and have to capture that true likeness when you close your eyes and you think about Darth Vader. But when you think about Darth Vader, how accurate is your mind versus what the picture is telling us to be as accurate? And so there's something called the Mandela effect, and I think it's an interesting concept because I can feel like in my own mind's eye, look at a figure and think, once it's in my collection, wow, that looks perfect. I don't see any inaccuracies at all. But oftentimes you see in our Facebook groups in 6 scale that we're constantly comparing to the actor or to the likeness or to the uniform or to the outfit. And so this was a fun game, and I got a little piece of paper here. I unfortunately know the answers. I was hoping to have 3 panelists, but we're still waiting on Pete, so it's going to be between the 2 of you guys. I don't know if you've ever seen these images, Classy or Philly, but what I'll ask you to do is take yourself out of the chat, or the private chat. So put yourself in the private chat so you can't see the chat members on the right-hand side. Because if the chatters know the answers, I don't want them to give it away. But that way you guys can let me know if you know the answers to these. Mm-hmm. So, Classy, take a look at the Curious George image first. Mm-hmm. Tell me which one, based on your recollection, is the correct image of Curious George. And Philly, you can do the same.
I would say third from the left.
Third from the left. So if we went A, B, C?
It would be C.
It would be C? C would be your answer?
Correct.
And C would be or would be your answer as well, Philly. Okay, and then let's look at the Monopoly Man. Which of those, A, B, or C, is correct?
A.
A.
A, okay. And A. Okay, Waldo, Mr. Waldo. What one, A, B, or C, guys?
I'd say A.
A.
Okay, A and A. Pikachu.
C.
C.
Definitely C makes sense. Absolutely. Fruit of the Loom. Have you guys ever looked at your underwear this closely? I don't know, but
it's a B.
C.
Oh, I go with B.
Classy goes B.
C.
And sorry, you said C, Philly? Mm-hmm. Alrighty. And the Return of the Jedi, C-3PO.
I don't have a clue.
It's a little bit of a small one, but
I can't tell one from the other.
So one's got a red leg. One's got a. This is just C-3PO in general. So one's got a red leg, one's got a silver leg, and one's got a gold leg.
I'll go with
the
B.
Correct answer.
B. B.
B is the right answer. Guys, let us know in the chat if you know the answers to these Mandela effects, because this is actually the right answer. So for Curious George, you guys both said C with a tail.
Wow.
Curious George actually has no tail.
Okay.
What?
When we take a look
he's
at
an ape.
He's a little monkey. But you always think about Curious George swinging around and going wild. Yeah, he has no tail to swing on, oddly enough.
Why?
When you...
It
makes no sense, right? It makes no sense.
Hands tail. I mean, I took biology. I know this.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you say he didn't have a tail, like he has to be an ape. Then he has to be a chimpanzee.
That's right. In terms of the Monopoly Man, you guys said A with his little monocle. Both of you said A. Technically, the Mr. Monopoly Man has no glasses or monocle.
Really?
C is the correct answer.
Wow.
But whenever we think about the Monopoly Man, we always think of that kind of rich tycoon guy, which must have glasses or a monocle, right?
You know who I got mixed up with? You're right.
The Peanut?
The Peanut, yeah.
Okay.
The Peanut Man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
something about A looks like that's how he should look. But you're right. Now that I think about it, that's true. I believe that in my recollection, I think that I don't think he did have glasses. Okay,
Right
I
on.
get it.
For Waldo, you guys said A with no cane and no umbrella. The actual answer is him holding the cane.
Really?
Waldo is always holding his cane,
Oh wow.
which is wild. Because he's a young man, you don't expect him to need a cane, so like, why does he necessarily have one? There's no explanation from what I'm aware.
And then you're trying to you're finding him, so the cane is kind of a distraction. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Pikachu, you guys all said C. So the third one with the blackout tail, that is absolutely the one that I thought it was as well. That is actually wrong. Pikachu is the left, so the A with the brown base on his tail. No black on the tail,
Okay.
Wow.
based on recollection.
I knew he had some brown, but I was sure that it was on they had it on the tail.
Again.
Yeah.
So for Fruit of the Loom, and again, nobody looks at their underwear this closely, I don't think. But Classy, you said B, which is of course, everything on a plate, which would make sense. It's laying on there on the counter. Philly, you said C with the cornucopia piece in the
cornucopia.
back. Absolutely. The correct answer is actually A. He's got no plate or cornucopia in that image. Correct.
That's so weird.
Wow.
Yeah. And then lastly for C-3PO, you both said B. So the silver leg, that is correct.
Yeah,
So we got
that's
1
correct.
out of 6.
Okay. So
correct.
the
Alright, good.
one that I know nothing about, I got right, and I got
That's
all
right.
the other ones that I thought I knew wrong.
No, I mean we're
Correct.
all. I can only assume we're all good Star Wars fans. So that's definitely.
Well, I'm not. I don't really. I don't. I was like C-3PO. I didn't have a clue. I didn't remember. I think I remembered something about him having
Well-
one leg that was a little different color. So
Yeah.
that's why
We
I
just
took
all
a
got
stab at
C-3PO
it.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah. I said I remember my. I just remember my sideshow piece, and it has a silver leg, and I was like, that's gotta be it.
Absolutely. My
Wow,
favorite part
that's
about
funny.
my favorite part about that game is I answered almost all the exact same as you guys did. Unfortunately, I knew the answer, so I couldn't participate. The reason I even bring it up is I do think oftentimes we as collectors see the next most recent release and go, "Oh my god, that's more accurate than the last one." But so often are we happy with the figures in our collection leading up to that new, nicely polished, nicely hyped figure. So for the new folks, the new collectors watching, don't ever let the excitement or the FOMO get you, because so often once a figure is in your collection, if you love that character and you
Yeah.
love that representation,
exactly.
you will find love in that 1/6 scale piece and not necessarily have to sink your money into buying the same figure over and over and over again. Don't let the Mandela effect take you, because there's so often one little aspect of a figure that might not be accurate that you might not even realize was the case.
But also, Ben, that's a great point. I finally just got it. And it's if you look at all these, they all bring the same value. It's a it's a character. It's just slight variation. So one or the other they're all the same to me. I mean, they have small variations, but they're just as important as the next one. So
Except
if
for
I get
Curious,
great
except for Curious George with the bushy tail,
Which makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
That's the only one.
that's an exclusive. Come on. It's an
Okay, yeah,
exclusive,
that
you know?
would make him
Yeah,
exclusive.
you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you for participating in the game. Let's do a little bit of house cleaning or housekeeping, I should say, before we get into the entertainment topics. I do want to let you guys know, if you're interested in the channel membership for the Ben Thomas Show, it's called the Tough Nut Members. We now have about 46 of us here. If and when you're in a live stream with us, your little icon pops up beside your name to show where and what level of member you are. So these are examples of what those will look like beside you guys. For the Tough Nut crew, we have Elvin J collecting weekly money, Mendez, 6-scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith scale collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 figure focus, SpongeBob Square Balls, The _Empire Strikes, Peter Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, 14 Wellington, Jose G. Hernandez, 12-inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blurred Dad Life, Danny Spotchka, Rachel Miller, Honest Hansel, Action in the Box, Figurecraft, Neilerific, Action Figure Academy, X-Men, Supreme, Don Maton, Kenneth Jacobson, Razgard, Adrian Cervantes, Alex Serrato, Eclectic Collector, Casual Nerd Problems, Akira, JB, Your Majesty 3, Justin, Loki Collector, TX Boy, 210, and Valkyrie Magnus. Now, of course, guys, if you're also interested and you're a member here with us already, throw up one of these emojis in the chat for me if you guys can, to boost a little engagement and to show everybody else out there who's not maybe a member how cool the badges look there. But even still, you guys are here, you're watching us live, and it's about being here as part of the community, having fun with us and getting nuts on a Sunday. So let's say hi to everybody.
Is that everyone? I can want it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Love to see it, guys. Love to see it. Let's say hello to the chat. We have Noble Young here with us in the chat. We've got the movie canon. What's up? Hello, collectors. How are you doing, Gio? Good to see you here, buddy. As always. We got Thalia Meyer in the chat. She says, happy Sunday, everyone. Good to see you here. Last week, actually, guys, I mentioned that I have no female viewers on my live stream. Because, at least based on analytics of YouTube, that's what it tells me. Thalia reached out and said, well, you've at least got one. So thank you for being here and representing the crew. Definitely appreciate you. We got Figurecraft here on the panel and in person with us as well in the chat. We got Vintage Rebellion Podcast, who, of course, Chris, I think he said he's on his way back. He's on the road right now. So be safe, buddy, if you're listening to the show, of course. We got Action Figure Academy with us, one of our channel members. We got Valkyrie Magnus in the chat as well. Good afternoon, guys. Time to get nuts. Love to see it. Good to see you here, buddy. We got Badfish as well, catching one live. I know he's been trying to get through all of the Let's Get Nuts episodes, and this is technically episode 46, so we got lots of live streams to watch if you're just joining the channel now, for sure. We got Mr. 12-inch Moose Stream out there with us. He says, hello, community of collectors. Mail call, 4 figures from the PO, 2 Batman, Mr. W, Mr. Wayne, ESB 40th Vader, and that's a slow day. That's a flex. Holy crap. And a special shout out to 12-inch Moose Stream, because last week, I guess, he crossed a membership threshold amount of time, and it pops up on my screen. I thought I'm the only one that can see that. I didn't realize that it shows to everybody. So I actually missed one of the complimentary super chats that you get to give when you're a member. So Mr. 12-inch Moose Stream, buddy, I apologize for missing that. I'm glad you let me know that that was the case. Always not, of course, ever on purpose, but either way, happy to let me know. We got Mr. Brandon Altman in the chat with us. He says, cheers, bud. Pour a drink and celebrate our existence. 100%. Action Figure Academy here. We got Christian Cooper. What's up, guys? Good to see you here. We got my mom here in the chat, of course. Rachel Miller says hi, Ben, with a wave. Love you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in.
So you got 2 girls.
Yeah, that's true. Right? There you go. Yeah. She's in the chat most weeks. Mm-hmm. Weird. I wonder why the analytics show that. That's very, very strange. We got Jose G. Hernandez in the chat with us as well. Hopefully we can get Jose back here pretty soon. We also have King Dingling, one of our channel members, here in the chat as well. Good to see you, buddy. We've got Jazzy in the chat with a yo. And then we've got Curtis Booth in the chat with us as well. Says, huh? No tail, you say? My mind can't absorb this info. We got Agent Silverfox in the chat. Says, hey guys, for the loom, what is this? Yeah, I guess if you joined the chat while we're talking about underwear, you're like, what the hell has Ben on now? This is getting way too nutty for my liking.
Boxer or briefs.
That's right. We got Christopher in the chat with a yo. Good to see you, man. Thanks for popping in. We got Mark P in the chat with us. We're getting nuts with Ben and company. You absolutely know it, my dude. We got Mr. Musashi in the chat as well. What's up, Ben and crew? Just thought I'd stop in by on my break. Hope you're doing fantastic. You too, buddy. Thanks for popping in. We always appreciate you. We got Shiny in the chat with testicles. I always expect Shiny to say something wild that makes me laugh on a Sunday. I'm happy you are here, good sir. We got Hozu. how would you guys pronounce this? Would you say? I wanna make sure I
Josue.
try
Josue. Yeah.
Josue. Thank you. Hopefully we're pronouncing that right. Let me know if that sounds right, good sir. Collectibles in the chat. He says, "What's up, everyone? Happy you are here, my friend." Jazzy as well with it. What's good, Mr. Philly? I think that's everybody. Let me know, guys, in the chat if I missed anybody, of course, because we don't want to leave anybody behind. But we also have one of our other esteemed panelists. He's arrived, and we can see him. He's no longer a pair of floating glasses in the dark.
It's not the spirit of Pete anymore.
It's not the spirit of Pete anymore. How you doing, buddy?
Now
How's
he's
it
a
going?
floating head. Hey, Pete.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, it just shows you how dark it is in here.
Yeah.
I've got a ring light right in my face, and it's literally all it can see.
That's all right.
But yeah,
That's all-
apologies for being late, guys. Technical
No worries.
issues as ever.
We all had them
but yeah.
today, so we're
Okay,
good. No,
I
it's
will
really
do
good to
it.
have you back. Good, man. Yeah, good. We you missed the game, unfortunately, the warm-up game. You have to check it out later, because I'll be curious to see if your answers were the same for sure. But guys, let's get into the topics. We got 46 already watching live. Thanks again for being here on a Sunday, getting nuts with us. I wanted to bring this up. I even wore my Deadpool shirt today. This is probably the shirt I'll rock when I finally go and see the movie. Screen Rant's reporting the ticket sales for the Deadpool Wolverine have gone so well that it's expected that it'll have at least $100 million opening, making it the biggest for the Deadpool franchise. AMC president Adam Aaron added 200,000 movie fans have bought their AMC tickets already. Now, of course, that's 200,000 people in the States. Here in Let's Get Nuts, we represent people all over the world, including Canada. I don't know how crazy the stats are here yet. But I was curious if this changes your desire to go and see this film sooner. Because let's be honest, there's going to be so many spoilers floating around the internet after this movie comes out. It'd be impossible to contain it. And this is probably my most anticipated comic film of the year. And seeing these kind of ticket sales, I'm like, I think for the first time ever, I actually want to pre-book my seats like this far in advance. Which to me is wild. I usually just kind of pay and go, and that's it. I've never really thought about pre-purchasing tickets before. So, Philly, I'll go to you first. Is this something that you've seen that you're like, damn, I should buy my tickets then soon as well? Or are you going to just go with the flow and see if you can get a spot once it comes out?
No, it's all pre-planned, booked, and ready to rock and roll. We're looking forward to it.
You're
It's
locked
it's my man Calvin, Brendan Salad. We're all sitting together watching the midnight showing on Thursday. It is Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con weekend, so we're gonna be, it'll be part of the festivities. So looking forward to that. So we're ready. We're ready to rock and roll. And this movie is, I would say, it's not the most anticipated movie of the year. I'd say the most anticipated movie since No Way Home and Endgame. So
there you go.
Definitely looking forward to this.
There you go. Do you ever dress up when you go to the theater for comic book films or anything like that? Or you just kind of
No,
rock yourself?
no, I haven't done that in a long time. But
Oh,
who knows?
what was the last one then?
I think I did Halloween as Batflick.
Okay.
Probably 2017. But then I had kids and I don't want to
You
scare
got
them because they're
serious.
babies.
Cool.
Well, yeah, no, I don't want to scare them.
You don't want to scare them.
I don't want to scare them. So maybe once they get a little older, then I can start dressing up again with them and do trick or treating. So
That's awesome. I was once Batman at a little kid's birthday party. I had like the full suit, and I had wore it to the TD call center when I worked there. And one of the young mothers there was like, "Oh my God, my kid's turning 3. He loves Batman. I think it'd be so cool if you could show up in this costume." So I did. I literally showed up to this kid's birthday party for like an hour. They handed out the treat bags and stuff, and met all the kids, and then left in my Batmobile, which at the time was a white Hyundai Elantra. So like a really sexy vehicle, as you can imagine. So
well, you do have the chin, so you have
There
to
you
have
go.
the nice
There you go.
chin. So.
And back then I didn't have any facial hair. So, Pete, what about you? Seeing all these like ticket prices, obviously you're in England. Is it any different over there? Is the hype just as real? Like, what is your experience so far with the lead up to this film?
Just as you notice, I've mustered as much light as I possibly can.
You look good. You
So
look perfect.
a little bit less disembodied head now.
A little bit like Powder from the Lawnmower Man, but you're good.
Shiny said that you look like Zordon from Power Rangers. It looks good.
Rangers.
I don't know who that is, but
What? Oh my god! I'm gonna pull it up. Tell us about Deadpool in England, there, buddy. Is this something that like is getting a lot of hype, just like everywhere else in the world, or what are your thoughts?
I guess so. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen any figures for how they're selling, but it's a difficult one because I don't think I'm probably not going to get to see it for a couple of weeks afterwards. So I'll have to kind of just try and crawl under some woodwork somewhere. It doesn't really bother me, to be honest. If there's there's going to be so much cool stuff in it that the odd spoiler or two is undoubtedly going to come out. But I'm really excited to see it. But I might not see it until probably a couple of weeks afterwards. So I haven't booked tickets or anything yet. So
I'm feeling like like I need to, or I'm not going to be able to get in. Yeah, when you were just the floating head before you turned the other lights on.
I need it
sort of. That's right.
Rangers.
That's awesome. We got Pop Culture Relics in the chat with us as well. How's it going, good sir? Good to see you. He says, how is it going, everyone? Love to see you here, buddy. Thanks for popping in. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel. He was with us here last week, and we had a really, really fun chat. So definitely go and check him out. Lewis, Pop Culture Relics, or Louis, depending on the day, I suppose.
I'm doing his video tour soon, so he's looking forward to that.
Hell yeah. Classy Thomas, I know you said you were excited about collecting a 1/6 scale Deadpool, especially if they revamp the outfit. Is this something that you're thinking about pre-booking tickets for, or are you okay to... Because you're not a huge social media guy, so like there's a chance that you probably wouldn't get it spoiled necessarily for you.
Yeah, well, I do enjoy... to be honest with you, I actually do like spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Some people don't, but I like them in the sense that even if they if they, for example, when they did the No Way Home, they were doing the thing where they were showing people about the cameos, with the different Spider-Man coming in, and I was like, okay, that's good to know. So I wasn't disappointed because I knew I'd still be excited to see it when it happened. And all right, look, I'm the type of person that will pick up a book. Like I remember when the movie Misery came out, I bought the book and I immediately went to the last chapter to find out how it ended. I didn't care about the stuff. I wanted to find out how it ended. And then, wow. So spoilers don't really bother me. As a matter of fact, a lot of times I will wait for people to actually do their reviews and give little information, because I'm also a type of person that I think with my adult ADHD, sometimes I get distracted and I don't always pick up on everything. But when I hear spoilers, I get a chance to look for things, and it makes me pay a little bit more attention. So I probably won't see it during the opening or anything like that. And plus also, I don't like being in crowded theaters. I like it when it's a little bit thinned out. So unless I pre-booked a ticket during the first matinee of opening day, and it was because most of the movies I've seen have been opening day matinee when most people aren't going to see it. But since students are out from school, I know that they're likely to go see a matinee, so I can't count on that. So I'll probably wait it out just a little bit.
Fuck those students.
And see, like during
Thomas, what's your...
Huh?
I was gonna say, what's your favorite crowd movie then? Since you don't like the crowds, have you ever been to a movie where the crowd was like intoxicating for you, that you got excited?
Never.
I think of your Frankenfurter costume, so I was curious if it was Rocky Horror, but
I've never liked being in crowds. It makes me nervous.
Oh, that's fair.
I like knowing that I can get out when I want to, and when I'm in a crowd, I kind of don't feel that way. And then, like, when you've seen those instances where something serious happens and people are trying to get out, and then people get trampled and everything like that, I'm like, no, that's not going to be me. So yeah, I just try to avoid big crowds and just play it cool like that.
Makes sense.
Really,
the only reason
really quick to go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I was
just going to say the only.
Point,
oh, sorry.
No, to Clancy's point, really quick. It's also a huge money saver. Spoilers, because I mean, I'll give you a good example. The Marvels. I heard that there was an X-Men going to be there, and I didn't want to spend the money and go see it to sit down and just wait for Beast at the end. So I just saw Beast on a spoiler, and I'm like, oh, cool. So it saved me like $17 for a theater. Yeah.
That's fair. It's for me. I think it's the intoxication of the audience when there's like those big heavy hitting moments, because I kind of agree with you guys. Like, I don't love crowds myself, but then I see footage of like when the Avengers Endgame film happened and all the heroes are coming through the portal and people are like cheering. I'm like, that would have probably been a pretty cool experience to watch.
And see, that would annoy me. Okay. Because then that way I'm trying to hear the movie and I have people yelling and screaming around me and I can't hear the movie. Yeah, so yeah, that would definitely annoy me.
That's fair. Let us know, guys, in the chat. Is this a movie you're pre-booking to buy? Are you with Classy? Do you avoid crowds at all costs?
And Ben, I have to be honest. It could be the fact that since I'm creeping towards 60, I think that it might also be that thing where when you start getting older, you're like, hey, get off my lawn, kid. That might just be me being older and not wanting to be annoyed by a bunch of noisy kids.
Yeah, we do that.
I can see it. 60 is the new 50, bud. Don't worry about it.
That's right.
You're young. You're younger at heart than even me, I think. So you're good. Let's move on, guys. Vision Quest, the show featuring Vision specifically, or White Vision, if you want to call him that. It looks like at this point has been greenlit for the most part, and the showrunner, Terry Matalas, is attached to it. The reason I wanted to bring this up, some of you guys might be like, who the hell is Terry Matalas? If you're not necessarily a Star Trek fan. But Terry just recently was the showrunner for Picard Season 3, which now is my favorite Star Trek since Old Trek ended. It really did feel like the 8th season of Star Trek The Next Generation for me. He had a really, really good touch when it came to, I think, what audiences wanted to see with those characters. And it's a little bit mind-boggling because there is more Trek that's coming. They're doing a show, or it sounds like they're going to do a show that's set about 100 years from now, kind of pre-Star Trek that we know of, but it's going to be like Starfleet Academy. So people who haven't even been to space yet, it's just going to be kind of about cadets, right? And kind of going up through the academy. Terry could have been signed to something like that and made that a good show, but instead Marvel got their hands on him for a Vision show. So good on Terry. If he's a really nice guy. He's even been on shows like Six Scale Mafias before. I would love to chat with this guy at some point myself, because he actually gets involved with the community, and he's a pretty awesome presence. And I think Marvel has won getting this guy attached. So awesome. For any of you guys that maybe aren't necessarily familiar with Picard Season 3, that's okay. Are you excited for a Vision show, I guess, is the other question. Because while I did like White Vision in the WandaVision show, I didn't actually feel like I needed that much more time with the character, and I guess unless it's done right. But I don't know what done right really means for me when it comes to this character. Classy, you're pretty involved with the comics. Did you ever get into like West Coast Avengers? Is White Vision something that you're interested in seeing a little bit more of in a show?
I think I am. It will be interesting to see. I think that the reason why in the MCU, and I'll base it on my exposure to the MCU, I think that because how White Vision came into existence, then when he met with the regular Vision, and they kind of were really trading information, and he then kind of flew off and disappeared. I think it will be really cool to see his development, because I think he'll start. This will be an opportunity for White Vision to evolve from being an android to being a little bit more humanoid. So I'm hoping that will be the direction that they'll try to go in. I'm always interested in characters when you see them grow and develop. And so if it's a character and they get some good character arcs and some good development, I'll be happy with that. It will be interesting to see if they involve in any way Simon Williamson, Wonder Man. Mm-hmm. Now, I do think that they had discussed. I don't know if this is one of the ones that was on the chopping block, but I think they had a Wonder Man series that was coming out. So I don't know. These are different. These are some of those characters that were good, solid supporting members of the Avengers, and it will be interesting to see how they kind of come along, because I think that I can't remember. I don't think it was a White Vision. It might have just been the Vision, but initially Vision didn't get Jarvis. He got Simon Williamson's personality, and so there was that triangle tension that happened between him and the Vision, between them and Wanda. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. So I'm kind of excited. I think this will be fun. And now that they're cutting down on the number of shows that they're doing, and they're trying to focus on quality, I don't really feel like I think we're going to see a good show. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this will be more than 9 episodes or 6 episodes. Hopefully it'll be an actual series. And if they do and they do it right, I think we're going to be in store for some good stuff.
Well said, classy. Classy as always, let's be honest. Shiny says here, White Vision is also 25% off on Sideshow, as it happens, but Sideshow is also 25% more expensive than most other places. So, also well said, Shiny. And we've got our good friend of the channel here, 6 Scale Mafia, in the chat with us as well. He says, sup, dude, with a live long and prosper. I'll have Terry on to talk about Vision sometime. Please involve me in that chat. I would love to get a chance just to say hello. I promise I won't be embarrassed myself, like fangirling over here and all the good stuff.
Don't you dare.
But also check out 6 Scale Mafia's channel if you're at least new to the Ben Thomas Show. Maybe you're just getting into the 1/6 scale community. Awesome stuff over there on his show, including some really cool interviews. And one of my favorite interviews actually was Terry Metalis when he came on to unbox the Picard figure. And actually have a look at it, because of course he was involved with Patrick Stewart himself as well, right? So very, very cool seeing him hold a Jean-Luc Picard in hand and see that Vision come to life. Vision, love to see it. Guys, let us know if you are excited for Terry to be attached here. Pete, I want to go to you on this one first here. So Acolyte clip unveils first ever live action lightsaber whip. When I read this, I immediately thought, man, this seems like a really extra good way to cut your own fucking arm off. Like, you know, like, how do you train with this thing without accidentally slicing yourself in half? But I'd be curious, is this getting to the point where, like, you think fans of Star Wars are going to be like, that's really cool? Or is it getting into, like, almost like silly territory where they're adding gimmicks as opposed to really good writing? Like, we don't know how good the show is going to be. I really liked Andor, but I didn't love shows like Ahsoka, for example, and I'm not really sure where this is going to fit. I had fun with it, but I wouldn't necessarily go up and back and watch it again. I liked Baylan and Shin the most. They were my favorite two of the whole show, considering it was a show about Ahsoka. She was actually one of my least favorite characters in her own show, which mind-boggling in my opinion. But yeah, is this meant for just like, you know, kind of just added cool shit that they're like, we hope Star Wars likes this, or not? What are your thoughts?
It's weird. I mean, I'm quite looking forward to Acolyte. I'm going into it with a fairly open mind, because I don't know too much about the story. I don't know that much about the sort of the, you know, stuff that happened hundreds of years or whatever before the original trilogy and things like that. So I'm kind of at the point where I'm not too precious about stuff now. So it's a bit of a weird one, and I guess it's a bit gimmicky, because we've all only ever seen, you know, a lightsaber as it is, obviously double ones and what have you. But you know, we're going to see a Wookiee Jedi in this series, which we haven't seen before. Let's see how it rolls with this whip. I mean, as you say, I think. I mean, obviously, a lightsaber is a work of fantasy anyway, but you can kind of understand. You could kind of justify in your head how it works in terms of being a static blade, but to be something that's whipping around everything, Unusual, but I will wait to see what I think of it when it drops.
Absolutely. I also wonder what kind of physics it will have, because I rewatched Phantom Menace 2 weekends ago now, and seeing Qui-Gon Jinn put his lightsaber through the steel doors was really, really cool. And then you see them fighting kind of like you said with almost like swords, but then you also see other times where it barely seems to connect with things. It's just kind of bouncing off of shit, and it's what are the mechanics of a lightsaber and how do they work? And for example, if this is a whip, will it ever actually coil around anything, or will it melt everything it comes in contact with? How will it even work as a whip? Wouldn't it just fall limp? It's interesting to think about. Anyways, Niculio says light whip was dumb in EU Legends and it's dumb now. I love to see that. Blue Tattoo in the chat with us as well. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate you guys. We have 50 people watching live. If you've forgotten, like I always do, please hit the like button if you don't mind. Just drive some traction to the video and gets people here next week for us as well. Philly, is this something that you feel is kind of more on the gimmicky side? Do you think this is actually cool and could add to it, or is it still really predicated on the story? Like, how do they even add this in? What are your thoughts?
It's very gimmicky. I mean, this is supposed to be in the past, so how is the technology improving backwards? I don't understand.
That's good.
One thing I will keep an open mind about the show. I am very excited to see a Wookiee as a Jedi. That's something exciting to see. The lightsaber, not really. I mean, it's like, what are they going to come up with next with the lightsaber sex toy? I mean, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
I don't know anybody wants that kind of thing up inside of them.
I know that. I know, but how does it? That's my whole point. It doesn't work. Like, how does a whip work? How is it going to work? It's light. So to me, it's just bringing up more questions instead of saying, "Oh, that's cool." But we've had over the years, we had progressions with the double, edged sword of the Phantom Menace, and then we have Kylo Ren's sword, the saber. So we had improvements over the years, but again, this is supposed to be in the past, so I don't really get it. I'm sure it's just going to be one thing that's going to be forgotten. But as regarding for the Wookiee as a Jedi, I'm very excited to see that. So
I'm also curious, if any of these characters are cool, how Hot Toys is going to actually make a lightsaber whip. They're still having a really hard time with just normal lightsabers to begin with, it seems like, and illuminating the whole piece, right, without the CCFLs. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. We got a special guest here with us in the chat as well. We got Loco Lou, who says, "What's poppin', people?" Came by to remind everyone to hit that like button. I am blessed by your presence, sir. Thank you so much for popping in. And he also says, plus it's my birthday, so hit that like button just because I said so. Happy birthday, dude. That's awesome. Hell yeah, dude. Happy birthday. I know I turn 37 next weekend, so I meant to tell everybody at the beginning of the show. I don't know if I'm going to do Let's Get Nuts next Sunday, because I will likely be a little hungover from the night before. I'm turning 37. It's ridiculous, so I'm trying to drink all my sorrows of age away. I'm totally kidding, but it is my birthday next week, so we may or may not have the show, or maybe we'll just do a special quick one. So
I'm old enough to be your daddy.
Nice. That's awesome. Classy as always.
Ben, I am your father.
I am your father. Can you imagine if this is where we found out? It's like, what? No way. No, that's impossible. Love you, buddy. And happy birthday, Mr. Loco Lou. I love having you here, man. Thanks for popping through. Guys, let us know what you think of the lightsaber whip. Is it a gimmick? Is it cool? Are you like Niculio? You didn't think it was cool back when it was Legends. Maybe it shouldn't be included now. Maybe it doesn't work, and that's why we don't see it in the future. Who knows, right?
Hey Ben, do you know the name of do you know the name of the actor? She looks very familiar.
I don't. Maybe you guys. Maybe if we got Jose G. Hernandez in the chat, he can.
Yeah, I'm really curious. She looks very. I've seen her in something.
Beautiful face. Beautiful face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Guys, let's move on because we got a lot of 6-scale news that I really want to talk to you guys about today, and we're already about 50 minutes into the show. This popped up from Mondo this week. Now, the image on the left is Mondo. The image on the right, just so you're aware, is not the figure. It's the screenshot of the actual film itself. So don't get too excited because we don't know what the upper half of her looks like yet. But Mondo is going to give us a Megan. I haven't watched this movie yet. I hate to admit it. I keep trying to get to it, and I just like haven't got there quite yet. So for me, this doesn't generate the same level of excitement as maybe for other folks. But seeing her like carrying a blade like this makes me go, ooh, maybe I need to watch this later tonight. This seems like interesting. I think in terms of horror collections, you can never have enough. There's certain folks out there who just specifically collect horror. Guys like and he doesn't specifically collect, but even guys like Austin Nicholas, awesome dude out there in the community. His horror collection's amazing. He's got some wonderfully done like horror tattoos, which are really cool. So I can see for a lot of folks this being something they'd be interested in. Mondo pricing, I'll be curious to see, because there is soft touch goods here. Typically with Mondo, we see a lot of like hard plastic figures. There are characters like their He-Man Prince Adam that has a bit of mixture of kind of multimedia, like the soft touch as well as plastic. But I don't know if I've seen them do more of like a figure style like this outside of characters, even like the Batman animated series, which are also fully plastic. So I'll be curious to see how this turns out. Classy or Pete, have you guys seen the Megan film? Is this something you would consider collecting? Or are we all in the same boat?
No.
None of us have actually seen this.
No, I haven't seen it. I mean, I don't mind a horror movie, but it's not a genre that I kind of, seek out. So I'm aware of it, but I haven't seen it. I mean, it looks creepy. And yeah, but no, I don't know too much about it, to be honest. Other than that, she's a sort of synthetic cyborg type.
Well, I've heard they're already working on a Megan too. So I feel like it must be good enough to at least greenlight a second, if that's not.
I've actually heard good things about it. I haven't seen it myself, but I've been planning to see it, and I don't think I would collect a figure from it, but the concept. I mean, she kind of reminds me a little bit of what was the name of that movie when Haley Joel Osment was an artificial boy? Was that
AI?
AI, yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like a cross between that and pretty not bad. I mean, but still equal Chucky. I mean, so she kind of has that whole thing of the doll coming to life and it's going to kill you. But awesome. But yeah, I mean, but I've heard very good things about the movie, so I do want to see it.
Heck yeah. A couple shout outs too. We got 16fix in the chat with us. How's it going, good sir? Good to see you. He says, Megan was a low-key funny film. A low-key fun film. I wonder if he meant funny or fun. If you clarify, let us know. And just so you guys are aware, everybody in the chat, 16fix was the channel that gave me my very first opportunity to be on online. I actually bought a microphone and a web camera just to go on Marco's stream and chat with him and Gigi. And then last week, Gigi was actually in the chat, which, let's be honest, is the best half of that channel to begin with. Love Gigi. I love you too, Marco. I'm just kidding, buddy. And I said to Gigi kind of in passing in a joking way, hey, we'd love to have you on, not thinking she would say yes. She did say, put me in, coach. So I reached out to her privately this week and said, hey, if you're actually interested, let me know, and we'd love to have you in. And she said, yes, at some point in the coming weeks. So I told her absolutely no pressure, but fun. I think it would be really fun to have Gigi in the chat with us, mixing it up a little bit. So stay tuned. We'll do a special announcement when she's available to pop in. She's a busy lawyer now, and she's got to deal with Marco. But we also need somebody else to tell us no to some of this stuff. So
Marco created you, and it's like the Joker and Batman.
That's right. That's right. You complete me. That's awesome. Ben Thomas, I want a seat at the table next stream week and the next week or so. Let me know. 100%, dude. I will send you the invite. We'll get you into our Let's Get Nuts group chat so you can put your hand up whenever you're free. Same goes for 6 Scale Mafia. He's been renovating his collection recently. I was like, dude, we got to get you in the chat with us at some point in the panel. So I'm sure we'll see him as well at some point. We got Adrian Cervantes, one of our channel members, in the channel as well, in the chat. What's up, good sir? He says, what's up, Ben? And of course, to all these other fine folks. 16fix says, looking forward to seeing Gigi hate on your channel too. Me too, buddy. Me too. So, and I said, it's a pretty casual stream, but you never know what we're going to talk about on here sometimes. So you got to be ready to get nuts, and she'll do well.
She'll just knock some sense into us, and we all need that once in a while.
We all need that a little bit at some point. Guys, let us know what your thoughts are on Megan coming to 1/6 scale. I see a lot of folks in the chat saying, cool movie, wouldn't necessarily collect it. I'll be curious to see where the price point is for as well. I'm assuming when it comes to Mondo, we're looking at kind of price minimum $235, maybe as high as $285 or higher with the soft touch goods. We'll see once it comes out. But it'll be interesting to spot, that's for sure. And it does make me want to actually watch the movie. So maybe finally tonight I'll get to it. Guys, we have a couple of interesting aspects of Batman Returns coming to the 6 scale community. And today we're going to talk about a couple of different companies that are showing their kind of artwork around that film. And the first one we're looking at here is a tease from Mars Toys, which I think, at least based on my recollection, has been the first to tease a couple of the Batman Returns line, including last week where we talked about some rendering images of their Selina Kyle Catwoman. They also put this up on their Facebook group, which of course is their Danny DeVito Penguin, which is pretty cool. Now, we've seen Danny DeVito's Penguin in 6 scale already through The Gentleman of Crime. There was another one as well, and I couldn't remember what the heck its name was, but I seem to remember this one being, at least from what I've heard from collectors, the superior version. This one is now sold out, from what I can tell, but you never know. If you keep your eye on the 6 scale market and buy-sell trade groups and stuff, some of the stuff will come back around eventually. For me, I'm excited to see all the love for Batman Returns, but I'm also shocked to hear how many community members actually have never seen the film before, which is crazy to me because it's such a classic film at this point. I joked about it last week. When I think of Batman Returns, I think of sitting on my British nanny's couch, eating Miss Vicky's salt and vinegar's chips, and watching this around Christmas time. And it scared the shit out of me, honestly. It's a scary film at times.
Scary film.
For sure. Yeah. So it's a very scary film. So while I thought the Penguin was cool, he's a little bit creepy to put in the collection. But with seeing,
I love him.
Images from Mars Toys, The Gentleman of Crime has popped out already. And then we also saw this go up from Eternal Toys last week, and that's their 1/6 scale Cat Lady, which is, of course, the Selina Kyle Catwoman as well from Batman Returns. So lots of third-party representations of Batman Returns. So before I go to the official release there from JAZZINC that's coming out, I want to talk to you guys about this first. How do you guys gauge the Batman Returns film and the desire at this point? Because it came out in 1992, based on my recollection, which means is it 94?
No, 92. You're right.
92. Okay. I thought you were like, no, higher. I'm like, really? I was 92.
My number one. It's my number one.
It's your number one. It's your number one.
Nice.
So Pete, tell us about why it's your number one. What hit for this film versus other Batman movies for you?
I think for me, it is just. I mean, the first movie's great, and it sets the ability for this one to kind of Tim Burton to just really go crazy. There's. I think if you watch the original Batman '89. Yeah, it's far-fetched. It's a guy in a bat suit and he's got gadgets, but it's kind of grounded. It's kind of like you could imagine it almost happening. The Joker, perhaps not, but with this one, it goes full fantasy. You've got this guy that's come up from the sewers, been raised by penguins. So I love it because I'm a big Tim Burton fan, and it just sort of gives him license to just do what he does. I actually prefer I know I'm quite in the minority in this. I actually prefer I like the 92 suit better than the 89 suit.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you about that.
Catwoman's great, brilliant character. For me, and as you say, and it's got that Christmas feel. It's not I suppose it's in that, is it a Christmas movie like Die Hard? Not really, but it's something cool to watch. Max Schreck is a great over the top character and everything. So,
Christopher Walken.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So for me, it just hits on all levels, and it would be if I was pushed on it. Well, not even pushed on it. It's definitely my favorite Batman movie.
That's awesome. I feel like I need to revisit it. It's got gotta be at least 5 years since I've seen it. And I enjoy it every single time. You know, his parents when they chuck the penguin in the water at the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
"You bastards.
Yeah, that's
horrible
really-
people.
yeah. That's horrible.
No,
Yeah.
no wonder he eats. No wonder he eats people's noses and the fish.
And
all
the
things.
father was Paul Rubens.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's
Yeah,
right.
just the
Let's-
iconography of it, you know, the bit with all the clowns and stuff, and with the jester with the blowing the flames, and then he spins the car around, and yeah, brilliant.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And 12-inch Moose Stream is saying here, I've got the Eternal toys and it's good. Philly, I think I saw you actually pulling one out, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look here. Let's
Yay.
put you on full screen.
Here's the
yeah, that's
Eternal
pretty cool.
toys.
That's the Gentleman of Crime.
The Gentleman of Crime.
Kinda. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I got them too. It's awesome.
That does actually look really, really good. Damn.
It's actually really good. It's a good stand-in though. But the one thing I didn't like the fact is that the head sculpt is not solid. It's almost like an inflated sculpt. It's hollow, but it looks the part, and
weird.
the
Okay.
tailoring is pretty good. Here's my custom Michelle Pfeiffer that I did. I don't know if you can see
Dude,
it.
that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
That looks really good.
Thank
How
you.
did you like you got it? You had it made,
What's the,
or like how did
ingredients
you?
on that one?
It's
you put that together?
mostly kit bash parts, and then what I did is I bought one on a third party head sculpt, and I put putty around it to shape the mask and the ears, and I painted the eyes and all that stuff.
Okay.
So it's mostly it's all kit bash pretty much, but it's
awesome.
a good stand-in until we get the official one. I'm looking forward to that.
That's awesome, dude. That very, very well done. That Catwoman looks amazing. We do have Jedi_Niner in the chat. Says hello, friends. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. We also have a special guest here in the chat with us as well, Mr. Evil Sneaker with a what's up all. I do want to give him a special shout out because he just hit 1,000 subscriber on his channel,
awesome.
which is
Good
amazing,
deal.
dude. Congratulations. I will say it took me at least 2 years to hit 1,000 subscribers, or a year and a half anyways. And it's the hardest grind of YouTube, in my opinion. That first 500 to 1,000, once you start to get past the 1,000, you gain some traction, and you know the algorithm helps you a little bit. But I tell you, the first 1,000 is one hell of a milestone to achieve. It is not easy to do. You have to stay consistent in the community, which Steve has definitely done. You see him over there on Wolfpack Wednesdays with the boys on Jedi Knights Watch channel, always doing a great job there. And then his Sunday night show with How You Figure has been doing really well as well. So a little bit of a pump there for you, Steve, but you deserve it, man. Keep up the hard work. I've invited Steve to come on and be here with Let's Get Nuts at some point as well. So whenever he's a dad, he's got dad responsibilities, which I don't get. I've got a fat cat out there in the living room. I've got no life responsibilities. So whenever, Steve, you have an opportunity to give the kids to your wife for the day, definitely you're always invited here, man. But yeah, shout out to you, buddy. Congratulations. And to many more. I'm excited to see your channel explode, good sir. Classy Thomas, what are your thoughts on... What's that? Yeah, of course.
Sorry, I
Of
was
course,
just
go
going to
ahead.
just have a quick comment on this figure, really.
Yeah.
I think, I had a closer look at it when I saw it, and it looks okay from sort of this view, but just be wary if you're looking to sort of buy this as a stand-in, because it looks quite. A lot of that stitching is printed on,
Okay,
which
interesting.
looks a bit ropey when you kind of zoom in and have a look at all the stuff on the torso. It's all just printed. So yeah, I think either Mars Toys, as I think, will be worth waiting for from a third party point of view, or as you say, we will be looking at an official announcement very shortly.
Yeah, well, let's bring that up because Classy, I want to know what your thoughts are on Batman Returns. Do you have a favorite Batman film at this point? I can't even remember if I've even ever asked you that, surprisingly.
You know, I would probably say that I probably would say that Batman Returns would most likely be my favorite, because I really did love. I'm a big fan of Catwoman, number one, And the thing that I love the most about Michelle Pfeiffer's rendition, because she was not who I thought would make a good Catwoman. I don't know if you remember from back in the day, but there was a big thing. I think that there was another actress that was really pushing. I think it was Sean Young, and she was putting things. She was putting it out there, trying to get that role, and they chose Michelle Pfeiffer. And I was thinking, well, I remember her from Grease, but then I sat and thought, I said, yeah, but she was in Scarface. So she might be able to do something with this. And what she brought to that role was, to me, it helped round out the cast. I think they had, in my opinion, perfect casting for this movie. They had Michael Keaton, who was already the Batman. Then you brought in these two, well, in addition to Shrek, but you brought in this Catwoman. And being that she's the femme fatale, she's the one who's kind of like his girlfriend, but not really. They have this attraction that they know they shouldn't have, but they do nevertheless. And then you had the Penguin, and all three of them brought to that role a certain demented energy that was needed to be one of Batman's villains. And I mean, they fit together like a puzzle. And I think that that's the reason why, just like Jack Nicholson was a great Joker for that Batman. So, I kind of think of the characters as a whole. Like, if you don't have the right villain to go with that hero, the movie's not going to feel right. This one felt right, and it was just and I was so impressed with the complexity of Michelle Pfeiffer's performance. I mean, it was very complex. She kind of was that shy, kind of unassuming, office administrator. And then once she got killed the first time, then all of a sudden her switch flips. Her switch just flips on, and next thing you know, oh, don't mess with me, I'm Catwoman. And it just kind of came out of her, and I was like, where did that come from? I didn't think it was in her, but yeah, she was one of my favorite parts of the movie. As a matter of fact, my favorite still from the movie is when she goes up to Shrek's store, and you know how he has that little mascot on the window, and then she puts her little face up in there, and it's a cat, but then her little cat face comes up inside of it. That is my favorite still from looking at that movie. I just love that. Yeah. So I'm a big fan, and I think that this is probably, to me, one of the best Batmans. And Tim Burton, I got to give props to him as the director. He's a weirdo, but he's the right kind of weirdo. And I look, I'm a weirdo, so I'm not saying that as an insult. But he is. You look at his movies. He's a weirdo, but he pulls things out that you would not expect to see on a film. And that's what makes it exciting, because you never know what to expect from him. So yeah, kudos to him, kudos to Pfeiffer, and I can't wait for us to talk about JAZZINC, because JAZZINC, when they do, okay, I'm done.
That's it. Okay. Now we know how Classy Thomas feels. You have to see it. You're gonna go splash yourself with some cold water. We'll see you in a minute.
I know.
Just kidding. Okay. Awesome. Great segue, because absolutely we are looking at now JAZZINC. JAZZINC has made their official announcement, now that they are officially licensed by Warner Bros. For the Batman line, that they are making their own 6-scale Catwoman. Now, this is now officially their first licensed figure. JAZZINC has given us one 6-scale figure before, kind of a knockoff Vulture character from Spider-Man. I can't remember what they called him. I heard mixed reviews on that figure, I will say. Some people said it was very fragile, especially some of the bracing around the legs, apparently. I never had that figure in hand, so I can't attest to it myself. All I know is that the wing technology that they used there was apparently amazing. So definitely some wins, maybe some things that they've learned from. But of course, at the time, they weren't licensed, so they didn't necessarily have that backing. Now they've got the backing, and we've seen some pretty amazing licensed products from JAZZINC, including diorama displays, 6-scale vehicles like we were talking about with Philly at the beginning of the show. They give you a lot of really well-polished stuff, in my opinion, at the very least. Now, that's my opinion, because I've never actually had a JAZZINC in hand. And I gotta say, I think this might actually be the first JAZZINC property that I really go after. They showed these images the other day, and I honestly still am not sure whether I'm looking at a figure or an actual image of the actress from the film. It's that shockingly good. And so, I've got a couple questions there. How are they going to make it this good? Who is the sculptor if it's not been announced yet? Because I don't think that it has. Keep in mind, Hot Toys is one of the biggest 6-scale. Hot Toys is one of the biggest 6-scale companies in the world. They've got some of the best sculptors for 6-scale. So where did JAZZINC find this? And then I'd be curious to find out, once these start kind of being made and the pre-orders are locked in, how long it will take to actually get this in hand. Having said all that, I don't even care, because I've been in 6-scale collecting now since 2014, so we're looking at 10 years. I've always wanted a Catwoman from that film. I always loved the outfit. I love Michelle Pfeiffer's performance. Some of these third-party figures that have been teased lately, you guys saw my excitement for that Mars Toys last week, seeing the rendering of her. But I gotta say, I am more attracted to official channels. JAZZINC got their start by being like a third-party company, right? They got their start by making things that didn't have the license approval. So I don't think that they should ever knock anybody that now is also trying to do the same thing. But on the other hand, I do think that this will be, at least from what I'm seeing here, the superior version. And it does make me pause on my desire to pick up that one even that they've shown from Mars Toys. So we'll see, but how long will it take to actually get this in hand? Seeing the different sculpts, they're talking here about these being kind of the forgotten figures from the Batman line, the figures that people have been asking for years and never got to get, right? And now all of a sudden within the last month, it's like Catwoman season. Philly, what's your take on JAZZINC jumping into the 1/6 scale figure market here? As well as some of the slides that we're pulling up here. Most of us have seen this video now, I'm sure of it, so...
Yeah, in case, I mean, I think Pete wasn't aware, but they did announce the Catwoman, Pete, JAZZINC. So I think it's wonderful. I mean, you know, Yost is his progression from the first Batmobile vehicle to, I mean, even before that, it was dioramas. And look where he is now. He's been a great contribution to the community.
Yes.
Getting so much feedback from us and being one of those collectors that loves the collection and does all that stuff. And he's gone this far because of the community and our support, because we love him. He's amazing. He's one of us, pretty much. You know, I made a tribute video for him just because I love his product so much, and I wanted to pay my respects to him, and he loved it. So venturing into the 1/6 scale community, I mean, I know he's done the Vulture before, but this is official. And we had sort of a feeling he was going to do this because he did tease a little bit talking about a female actress, and what better way to start is with Michelle Pfeiffer. She's awesome. So we've been asking this figure for years, and based on his ingenuity here on the things he's going to provide, for the exception of movable eyes and maybe a third head sculpt with the rooted hair, I think he's on the money. And he said he might be able, if he gets enough orders, he might be able to make improvements or add the third head sculpt. So hopefully, I think everybody's excited, and he's, hopefully we get that third head sculpt. But it looks great. I mean, this is all, conceptual art and renders, but I trust that he's going to do an awesome job, and I'm excited.
I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, and he's used to doing vehicles. This is something different, but it's going to be, turnaround is going to be probably not as long as a vehicle, because a vehicle is a lot of ingenuity. This is different. It's a small 1/6 scale person. So I know there's paint applications and all that stuff, but I think he'll do a phenomenal job. And getting the approval from Michelle Pfeiffer, he's not going to disappoint her or us. So I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. Definitely well said. Shout out to HNDN under the JAZZINC Diorama Facebook group page. It says here, going by the description, it sounds like the unmasked Selena sculpt isn't in the plans, and then asks Yost himself to address that, and which he does, which I think is very impressive.
Right.
In the bottom, he
Sean
says,
Depp.
"Oh, thank you." It says in the bottom there, I would say if the regular battle damage figure get enough sales, that would mean that there's a mark to do the unmasked separate Michelle Pfeiffer with rooted hair, just like in the picture. Does that sound fair? And I would say that does sound fair. These things cost money. There's investment. They need to gauge the interest. And again, what I've really been surprised about over the last couple days is how many people who collect 6 scale just like we do have said they've never even seen the movie. So it will be interesting to see what the demand really is like. Obviously, I think for people maybe even kind of above the age of about 35, most of us are like, oh my god, how can you not have Michelle Pfeiffer in your collection? But on the other hand, it's not for everybody, and it was a very dark take.
And
you mentioned,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you guys mentioned Tim Burton being an odd duck. And it's unfortunate because after I was watching an interview with him talking about this film, and he mentioned that kind of after the initial Batman with Keaton and Nicholson, toy sales were wild when it came to that film. And I would say that film was also kind of dark and has some scary moments, to be sure. But then they kind of let him do what he wanted with Returns. And I guess when the studio people saw the film, they were like horrified, because they were like, how can we rate this film in a way that kids will be able to go and see it and buy the toys as a result, which I thought was very interesting. But we still got this very dark take. It's also part of the reason that the company, or the higher ups, I should say, went with that Joel Schumacher Batman Forever light version after the fact, because this was essentially just kind of too dark for toy sales and for kids, which is wild.
But the thing that I love the most about this is that Yost is giving us a figure that nobody else has done. So instead of doing like InArt and all these other places that are jumping to the 1/6 market, they're giving us things that everybody else already has, trying to improve it. Thank you, Yost, for, if like his, the Vulture one, that I actually have that, and it is spectacular. The jacket is real leather. He pulled out all the stops from the very beginning. So, and he's planning on doing this on a seamless body, which would be amazing. So, I'm hopeful that if his head sculpts turn out the way those renders did, man, I'm gonna be on top of this like white on rice, man. I'm just gonna be jumping on this one because I want it, gotta have it. And then Yost, I'm gonna say this out loud. Big fan. I love you. Please, please, please. Stay on the line of Catwomen. Give us all the Catwomen that we've missed. Give us Julie Newmar. Give us Eartha Kitt. Give us Zoe Kravitz. Mm-hmm. Give us those Catwomen also. We love them all. But Michelle, she was the place to start. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because she is, I would probably say out of all of the Catwomen, Michelle Pfeiffer's is the one Catwoman that stands out above all the rest. Everything from her costume and how she devolved in that throughout that movie, I thought was so brilliant, seeing where she started and then to see her slowly unravel like her costume. Like the more that her costume revealed, the more unraveled her character became. And that was just such a cool thing to see. But I'm excited. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be sitting there rubbing my hands. So, come on, Yost, open it up, give it to me, Yost, give it to me, Yost. And I might have to film myself and play it, because I guarantee you that once I finally push the button to purchase, then the excitement will build up so much that I'm probably going to pass out. And so that's how excited I am. I want it. I want it. I want it.
Hands above the desk, classy. Hands above the desk. We got 6-Scale Mafia here saying, having Yost on Wednesday, by the way. Can't wait for this. Definitely tune in to see Yost on Anthony's channel there this week then, guys. That's wild. Now, Clinton Martin also brings up something. He says here, if he can stay at the 250 to 300 price point and delivers a solid figure, he's going to sell a ton of these, which I totally agree with. I hope it's similar to how he does with vehicles, where it's open-ended, so there's not a limited amount, but just kind of like a window. I think that would be a better way to go. I hate limited lately. It's been a swear word for me, but also the pricing is also really impressive, because I wonder how this will put pressure on companies like Hot Toys and InArt for, if the delivery of a figure is anything as close to these renders look, then it's like, oh my god, that is insane for the price point. Insane. And I wonder what kind of pressure it will actually put on those other companies. I also wonder, with InArt, you guys mentioned them, I'm pretty confident, have the WB license, right? They're doing the Batman, they're doing like the DC, I should say, DC license. I wonder if we'll see an InArt version of this. Like, I almost hope for Yost's sake we don't, because, and for the collector community, we can only go in so many different directions with one character, right? But hard to say. Pete, did you have something you wanted to add with regards to this? I saw you trying to get some sun now.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, like, Jose's just put Sean Dabbs. So obviously we know Sean Dabbs is one of the. He's a great sculptor, does a lot of like rooting of hair and stuff, so I assume that he's going to be dealing with all of the the painting and that rooting as well. It does interest me, because I don't know. I mean, I've got the Falcon cockpit here as my JAZZINC piece, and I was really interested when they did the Vulture, because I don't know how much of that was actually done in-house, because obviously all of the wings and the engineering and stuff, yes, that's right in their wheelhouse, because they're making vehicles and joint stuff. But I don't know, I think they would have probably subcontracted out the clothing and stuff for that, because as far as I know, they don't have people within their family unit that it is at the moment that does tailoring and stuff like that. So I'd be interested to know who they're bringing in for for the costume and stuff like that, because it's definitely something that they're not particularly known for. But I know that Yost is very keen to kind of get into figures. So I'm just really interested to know kind of who else they're pulling in, whether these people will become kind of like, almost permanent fixtures at JAZZINC for what's to come in the future.
Yeah, I hope so. And if it's done well and gets that buy-in, right? I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I'm honestly not familiar with Sean Dabbs, to be honest here. So Mafia is saying he's done some of the great Exo 6 sculpts. Be careful who you tell that to, Mafia, because some people don't love all the Exo 6 sculpts. Some people do. I like some of them for sure. No fire, but just say it. But no, that's really cool. I'm really excited to see Yost talk a little bit more about this on Anthony's show there this coming Wednesday. And also, honestly, I've always had a pretty good vibe from the person himself. Collecting Weekly did an awards show last year, kind of at the tail end of the year, and Yost, he won like an award, I can't remember which one it was now. Best Up and Coming might have been, or one of those awards. And of all of the companies that we kind of handed out awards for on CW, Yost was the only one who actually reached back out, and not only reached back out to say thank you, but actually recorded his own thank you video and sent it to Collecting Weekly, so he could actually personally address it and have fun with it. So I thought that was really cool of him. Like, that's going above and beyond. He doesn't need to care about smaller YouTube channels like ours, and yet he does. So I think that's a really cool thing. And he's been around the 6-Scale. He's been around the 6-Scale business long enough. He knows how picky we are. He knows that if he puts a figure out like this and botches it, it's going to go so bad. It's going to go so sideways for him.
I think Ben he's very much he appreciates the exposure that he got on a lot of these shows in the early days when it was, Star Wars dioramas and stuff. We had him on OFAC a couple of times. He was on Collecting Weekly, and I think it really gave him that boost in his early days. So I think he doesn't forget that, and he's always happy to give his time back to the community, and go on shows and chat about his stuff. So it's nice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Special shout out to Brick Artemis as well. Make sure you check out Brick's channel, especially if you like Lego, but also 1/6 scale. And he's also part of the Wolfpack on Wolfpack Wednesdays with Jedi Knights Watch. Him and Steve and all the guys over there. I've been connecting with D'Lo a little bit more lately as well, because D'Lo actually just hit his 500 subscriber mark.
Hey.
And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show here, guys, that first 500 to 1,000 is, in my opinion, the hardest growth trajectory in YouTube. So congratulations to those guys getting some numbers up on the board, which is awesome. But good to see you here, Brick. Good to see you here, buddy. I am very excited about this, but I definitely want to hear from the chat. I want to hear from everybody watching this video on replay. Have you made your selection as to where you're going to get your Catwoman from? Are you maybe a Mars Toys supporter? Are you a JAZZINC supporter? Are you going to wait for the in-art? I'd be curious to see what people have to say with regards to it, that's for sure. But guys, let's move on, because we're about halfway through the show now. And Hot Toys gave us their, kind of, I guess it would be quarterly slide of their upcoming releases. And there's a few notable things that are missing from this picture, in my opinion. But on the other hand, I'm also really, really excited about one very specifically. Talking about Batman, I've never had a Batman 89 in my collection. I missed on the original. I've got the Jack Nicholson Joker in behind me, and for the age of that figure, it's one of the best figures I have in terms of likeness. It's amazing. But I gotta get an 89 Batman in the collection. So I'm like crossing my fingers they say it's released this week. Like any freaking day now. But there are the likes of the Avatar figures in here. Anakin Padawan Anakin there. A couple others here that really stand out to me. I've been waiting for the Mantis for a while, but I think she may actually be more of my Christmas display, despite her having the ability to take her jacket off and be kind of just part of the Guardians. There's a couple here though, for sure, but I think for me, the top two, the most I'm excited about, again, is the Batman 89 and the Vader. The Return of the Jedi Vader is the other one that's coming that I'm really, really excited to see. I really thought we'd see a Bane in these photos, to be honest, which we haven't seen here updated yet, and really seemingly getting no word on that yet. So that's a notable exception. But Philly, when you saw this slide pop up from Hot Toys this week, out of these cast of characters, are any of these in the pre-order basket for you? Anybody that you're excited to get in the collection?
I think half of them are in pre-order.
Nice.
Wow.
But just for the record, I mean, they've released these pictures before and kind of sprinkled unannounced, figures. So we could get a Bane in between there. We could get a Obi-Wan from the TV show. You never know.
How about Catwoman?
Well, Catwoman is released. It just hasn't come to people's collections yet.
She has? Oh, she's been released?
Yes,
Yeah.
officially,
Oh, okay.
about a month ago. But
Yeah.
still, people are still
So-
waiting on her, which is the
It
wild
hasn't
part.
gone
Oh,
to you,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Lael just got his, or it's shipped or something. But in regards to these, I say my top three most anticipated, I'd probably say Batman 89. I did own the DX09 back in the day, and for some reason, I got the Batman Returns, and I ended up selling the DX09.
Wow.
Big mistake. Yeah, it was a big mistake. But long time waiting for this 89 Batman, and it looks great. I love the box. The box looks amazing. Also, looking forward to Shuri, that Shuri figure, that head
Shuri down
sculpt,
the bottom there.
that looks
Yeah.
amazing. Looking forward to that. And this is an odd one, but Kang. Kang is, I think it's an underrated figure. It's waitlisted already, and the actor, say what you will, he's a great actor, and I like his portrayal as Kang. I think he did a great job, and I like that cool mask that he comes in with the with the LED, or looks all blue. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure. And honorable mention, obviously, Anakin for sure. Looking forward to Anakin.
Heck yeah. I would say Kang was my favorite part of Quantumania, for sure. I think he was pretty good in the role. I had pre-ordered it and then I'd canceled my pre-order, and then I was like, I'll just get it when it eventually comes out. And then all of the issues with the actor kind of happened, and then I'm like, oh man, now it's going to be actually hard to get this guy in the future once it comes out, because they'll likely never make it again. It's kind of one of those one and dones, I'm sure, from Hot Toys. I was a little bit surprised to even see that it was still coming after some of that controversy, but I'm also happy to see that, because at the end of the day, I think you should be able to kind of separate the person from the character. The character who they're portraying isn't the person in real life that's doing that shit. So I don't have to support the person, but I would want to support the character if I really liked it. Thankfully, I haven't actually been in that position many times, though, in collecting. I know the Ezra Miller Flash was one of those for people, right? Where they were like, I don't really like the person and some of the stuff he is doing, or they are doing, I should say. And then, that figure still came out and people seemed to want to buy it. So that was pretty cool. Finlay, do you think they're going to make another 92 Batman? I meant to ask in the previous Catwoman discussion, but do you think we'll see a return of a Batman Returns of the 92 figure?
A return of the returns?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, mine is, his cape is falling apart, and rubber can only last so long. So
Yeah.
I definitely could see that, revised faceplates and even a more refined head sculpt. So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Absolutely. Pete, with all of the Star Wars sprinkled into this photo, I apologize, it is a bit of a small photo, but for me, but what are your thoughts here? Any of these come into your collection from
I've had a look at it online anyway. So actually, the only one that's on the pre-order is the Vader. Absolutely must for me with the Sebastian Shaw head sculpt. That's how he'll be displayed in my collection. I would be tempted with the Anakin. I've not got him pre-ordered, but I have kind of started. I've got a bit of a collection of prequel Jedis and stuff now, so I might pick him up, but I don't want to pay early doors prices on him. Marvel, I don't collect anymore. Avatar, I'm not a fan. 89, as we were talking before, I would probably pick. I owned the 89 and the Batmobile and the Batman Returns, and they've all moved on as I've kind of evolved the collection. But I think I kind of maybe the Returns is the only regret that I don't really regret selling figures, but that one possibly. So I think I would welcome a 2.0 of the Returns, and I would probably pick that up. But I'm excited for all you guys that are picking up the 89. Particularly if you haven't owned one before, because I know that's a special figure. And for me, I know the suit's quite similar, but I'd never really I didn't really like the ab section in the 89 suit. But it's going to be a great figure, and obviously with the little diorama piece with the gargoyle, that's really cool as well.
Yeah, I got the gargoyle coming, and then I was like, did I need the gargoyle? But I'm like, it's still pretty freaking cool. So.
You don't need it.
Yeah, I think it looks good. Yeah.
Not to mention Vicky Vale's shoe.
Her shoe is on there. I think it could pair well with even other figures like Daredevil or Spider-Man. Like you can put other figures with it too, right? So I think that's pretty cool.
You can attach the gargoyle and put something on top too if you want.
Did you get the Joker's teeth?
I don't know.
Oh, the Chatterbox Chief
on the thing. Yeah. You get him with the original figure, but
okay.
Yeah, you get him.
You
with
should
the
have him in this
figure. You should, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Before I go to you, Thomas. Question for the chat while Thomas gives his take. When this photo showed up online this week, were there any figures here that you guys were like, damn, that is pre-ordered and I no longer feel like I want it? I no longer feel like I need it? Because there's been a lot of heat dropping, a lot of dollars being spent lately. And sometimes once you see all the things that are kind of coming, you're like, oh my God, I've spent too much. I don't need it. Or my collection's filling up. Or what am I going to do to display this? Were there any figures in this picture from the chat here that I'd be curious to know? If you're like, yeah, I no longer feel like I need it now that I see it here. Classy Thomas, any figures here on the list for you, good sir, that you're excited for?
I actually have the 89 Batman on order. I have Anakin on order. And because even though I'm not totally into Star Wars, I'm trying to complete the family tree. So I have like Luke and Leia. I want to have their parents. Then I want to show Vader as as he was, and then Vader as he became. So I kind of want it there just to show the family tree. So I'm excited about him. I definitely have the Mighty Thor on order and can't wait for her. Shuri, can't wait for her. Mantis, can't wait for her, even though I actually bought a kit and put it together. It had the head sculpt and the costume. You just had to put it on a Pfeiffer body. So she's in the cabinet. And so I can't wait for her to arrive to see how they compare. And then Kang and Groot. I have both of those because I kind of have all my Groots. I have the original Groot, Teenage Groot, and then I'll get Muscle Groot, and then I also have I Am Groot. That so I'm gonna have my little Groot display also because I think Groot is cool.
Awesome. That's awesome. You got to do another collection tour again here soon.
I do. I really
got to do it, buddy.
Yeah.
It seems like it's really growing for sure. Vintage Rebellion says, I kind of regret not getting the Avatar ones. And I missed the waitlist reminder. Might try again on those. That's interesting. Brick also says, I'm really hoping for the 89 Batman. It's nice when you have those POs paid off. That's for sure, dude. And I did forget to mention here, well, not forget, but I just didn't get to it quite quickly enough. But we do have another esteemed guest in the chat with us there. Collector Joey in the house. Make sure you guys check out Collector Joey's channel if you're new to YouTube or new to the collecting community. Awesome dude over there, and he's got a really fun show called Cop or Drop as well, which is a really, really fun show on Thursday nights to check out as well. There's a great show almost every night of the week, so I don't think there's enough hours in the day sometimes. I've been cross-stitching a lot lately just to relax my brain and getting caught up on live streams, and I cross-stitched for 8 hours last Saturday and watched a bunch of streams. I was like so greasy by the end of that day. It was like, okay, ridiculous. But good to see you guys all here in the chat. We've got 56 people still watching live. A couple more topics that I want to go through for sure with everybody. But if you haven't already, if you don't mind, hit the like button just to add a little strength to the video and get other people to watch it going forward on the replay. Definitely would be appreciated, guys. But yeah, I'm very excited about these. The Avatar figures, I am excited to see what they look like in hand for people. While I loved the film, they're a little bit too large for my collection. They're just, not that they're inaccurate, just that like I don't know where the heck I would put them. I don't know how I would slot them in, and I don't necessarily feel like I need to collect from the line. I also think that I'm pretty confident that James Cameron also has like 5 movies planned, so it wouldn't be totally surprising if we saw those again. I remember with the pre-order solicitation of the Avatar figures, I wasn't super happy with the likeness for Neytiri. I just like the Jake looks good, but the Neytiri, for some reason, like when I saw the movie, I was like, man, she's so beautiful, and the figure doesn't capture that beauty for me. There's something about it, so I'm hoping to see some subtle tweaks, maybe some improvements on the final before I would be willing to consider. If they tweaked it though, I might change my tune on that. So reserve the right to be wrong when I see the final photos pop up. But would love to hear from you guys. As I said in the chat, is there anything here that you guys are okay with missing out on now that you're seeing that they're coming? And or what are the figures you're most excited for? I would love to hear you guys channel me in the comments because I love reading your comments. Guys, this also popped up this past week. This is the end scene version of Tom Holland's Spider-Man from Spider-Man No Way Home. And I think it's pretty amazing, to be honest. I think the likeness to Tom Holland is fantastic. I was really happy with the other older sculpts from Tom, to be honest. I still look at those and think, wow, like they're amazing. I've seen some comparison photos, and people are like, oh man, this new one looks so much better. I don't think it looks better. I just think it looks like him now, as opposed to the younger one, which is his younger likeness. I think they're both really, really good. If you're going to have a definitive Tom Holland in your collection, is this the one? I think yes for the head sculpt. I say no for the Spider-Man outfit. And the only reason I say that is because we only get to see it for about 8 seconds at the end of that film. And he's swinging through the city, but it's very, very quick, very, very brief. We've had really no time with him in this actual outfit. Now, you could argue, yeah, but this is now his start as Spider-Man. Really, like, the first 3 films are kind of his origin story of how he becomes Spider-Man. This is his first suit that he's made for himself that's free of the Stark tech and the gadgets and all of the things. So maybe this for me will become the iconic or definitive version if we get a chance to see this suit play out maybe in another film or show or whatever. But for the time being, I think the figure likeness is definitely definitive. The outfit for me, I'm going to actually pass on this figure. The only reason I'm sad about passing, though, is I actually really like the display. I think the display base, the upper rooftop piece there, looks really cool. And kind of like we were saying with the gargoyle base, I think it would look really good with a Daredevil or Batman or Spider-Man or really any of the types of characters who may or may not be shown on a rooftop at some point. Even the Catwoman figure that we were looking at earlier could look wildly awesome on this snowy rooftop. So curious what your guys' take is here. I saw you nodding, Philly, when I mentioned kind of definitive. Is this one that you feel for you and your collection could be more of the definitive Tom Holland Spider-Man? Or what's your take there?
Well, Ben, I'm going to try to enable you because I disagree with you. This is the definitive version. And just look at that sheen. Look at that sheen coming from the blue. It just looks like a comic book. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, the head sculpt, he looks more mature, it has the movable eyes, and it looks on point. And that suit is it's what we've been asking. I mean, they did all these cool suits in the last, God knows how long he's been doing Spider-Man, but they always have this, they have to go the extra mile to make it different or add these little extra touches that are not accurate to the actual comic. This is comic inspired. And I understand we have another comic inspired, but this is the one that's closest you're going to get. And I think this is going to be a grail for a lot of people. It's already waitlisted. And you do love that base. So hopefully
I do love the base.
Without that base.
But I
telling
feel like,
you.
again, it comes down to, for me, though, like how Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. They could do another one of those. I wasn't totally happy with the end result of that figure, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
How many Tom Holland Spider-Mans do I need? This would be my third in the collection. And that's minimal in comparison to some other folks' collections out there. And I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do if I got this, would I eliminate one or two?
Yeah.
I mean, how do I display?
This is definitive. This is the ultimate. So, we all know he's doing more movies. So, I think that's the only thing that you can probably consider. But I mean, the blue, it's the same, texture they had on the upgraded suit. So it has this sheen on it, and it just reminds me of just Todd McFarlane. It reminds me of all those 90s comics where the blue was kind of darkish and it just had blue highlights. And it's the red is the perfect amount of the color, the pop, and it just makes the figure more accurate to what you've been looking for. And I just really quick, when they did Civil War and they brought Spider-Man for the first time, I think that CG rendition was the perfect Spider-Man, especially in the mask. And I'm upset because Hot Toys never really did a Civil War Spider-Man. They went straight to, Homecoming. So, I have a little gripe with the mask. The mask, for me, it has to be a little more human shaped, and the eyes have to be a little more like wider. Kind of like a good example of Alexis Ross representation of Spider-Man. I think that's the classic look, the Steve Ditko, the eyes and everything. They steered away from the Civil War version because the Civil War version was perfect. They got it perfect on the dot. But then when Homecoming came in, they kind of went more of a narrow face and more squinty, like more downward eyes. And I think they still haven't perfected that. So that's the only gripe I have about this. But I think you should reconsider and definitely go for this. So.
It's interesting you mentioned the eyes too, because even in this photo here that we're seeing on the left, I didn't realize, I assumed it would come with different eye shapes and sizes, right? Because all of the previous versions of this character have.
That's just Hot Toys.
But that's
it.
because that's also because they had Stark Tech in that like mask. And so it had the ability to expand and contract the eyes and change. Whereas, I could be wrong, but I think some of the other Spider-Man that have come out actually don't have that ability. Like, for example, my Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, that didn't change shape in the film. So it's one
Civil
set
War.
of eyes.
Yeah, Civil War was the first time you saw that.
First time. But again, if he's shed himself of the Tony Stark equipment, if this is his homemade suit now, essentially, is that still existing when we see it in the future? I'd be curious.
It looks like in the final scene, they meant to say he's gone to bare basics. But Hot Toys is just including that because they're like,
For
if
expression.
because we're used to that. We're used to the last 4 films, and they would have been like, if we don't include these, they're gonna get
People are gonna
upset.
get upset.
So, yeah, so they did.
I wonder though. I wonder how accurate that'll be, or if that Stark Tech will remain in the mask going forward. Because otherwise, I'd almost want them to take it out. I like the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire look, where like their mask is their mask. Pete, what are your thoughts on Toby? Or I keep wanting to say Tobey Maguire, on Tom Holland's Spider-Man here from the final scene. Pete, can you hear us?
Me? Yeah. I don't mind it. I think it's quite nice. I'm not actually a fan of the shiny blue. To be fair, I think it was more of a. I know it's accurate to the movie. I quite like the design. I like the insignia. I think it's quite a cool look. I'm with you on the sculpt. I think the sculpt's really good. I think the issue really that I see with a lot of people with their Spider-Man is that everybody's too scared to display them in a dynamic pose because of the suit and the creasing and the bunching, which is a real shame, because to see a Spider-Man just standing straight up and down is a bit of a waste of a figure. I've got the classic suit one from the first game. So obviously it doesn't come with a head sculpt, it's just got the mask. So and I've had that figure in all sorts of poses, and I don't really care if it kind of bunches up. You can steam it with a over a kettle, and it goes back anyway. But I do like to see Spidey's doing what they should be doing, and swinging around and stuff like that. So I think it's decent. It's not one that I'll be picking up. I'm happy with the one kind of representation of Spider-Man for me, which is not a specific movie one. It's just like a comic book look. It's decent. As I say, and as I say, that rooftop is cool, and I think people will be parting those out. So keep an eye out.
I think so too. Classy Thomas, what's your favorite Spider-Man, or who is your favorite Spider-Man, and is this one that you'd consider putting in the collection?
Well, I probably would put. I think that I have enjoyed Tom Holland's more. I think the reason for that is that I've seen him more. He's been in more productions, so I appreciate that, and I also appreciate the fact that they actually hired a teenager when he was a teenager. They hired one to play Spider-Man instead of hiring a 20-something-year-old to play a teenager. So I bought him as Peter Parker, and I also bought the immaturity of him as Spider-Man, not having the life experience and the battle experience, and just growing into that. So I really enjoyed that. He's had so many suits. I don't know that I could say I like one over the other, but I have to admit I really like this one. I wasn't so keen on the shiny. It looked more like something you would see on Dance Moms, but I'm talking about the shiny material, the shiny spandex. But it's growing on me. I would have preferred a more matte or a more matte blue, and the same color blue, but in a matte. But I have to say that blue pops, and that is something that in a display it will look really, really good. So I'm looking forward to this suit. I also don't mind the eyes, because in the comic books he didn't have Stark Tech, but his eyes would emote. Okay. And that's one way that Spider-Man was able to give expressions. Like if he was surprised, the eyes would get really, really wide. If he was thinking about something, the eyes would squint. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have a problem with that, because I see that as a way of them not so much using Stark Tech, but having the character emote through the mask. So for me, it's suspending the disbelief. I didn't really take it as Stark Tech. I just took it as he he's emoting through that mask, and that's how we know what he's thinking, what he's feeling. Although I could appreciate the Maguire and the Garfield wide open mask, wide open eyes, and how they stay that way. But I really prefer the emoting eyes like that. But I'm excited about this. I'm looking very much forward to getting it into my collection. And Spider-Man is another character that I have so many. I'm going to have to make just a Spider-Man display of nothing but those figures, because I have the PS4 ones, I have the MCU ones. I just have too many of them, so I love
that about the Spider-Verse, though. You know, like that's the cool part, is that like the Spider-Verse exists and you have one in your house. Like that's pretty freaking cool.
And see, I even have the here we go. This is the tech suit. I mean not the integrated suit.
Upgrade.
Yeah, the upgraded suit, and then I've got Miles, and since I got head sculpts for them both, I actually have the two of these figures together, where it looks like Peter is teaching Miles the ropes. So that's why I'm doing these two characters. I'm going to have a display of them doing different things, where it's like he's teaching his protege.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. I'm excited to see Classy Thomas's Spider-Verse as it all comes together. Philly, you didn't quite sell me on it yet, but it is going to be on my radar. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for it. I'm also excited to see what the next Tom Holland film looks like. Will they keep the suit? Are they going to change it immediately for the sake of toy sales and, you know, freshness? Like, it'll be curious to see how that goes. I really do like that spider emblem on the front, though.
Oh yeah, that's great. Can I make? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Philly.
The producer or the director, Watts, they initially intended to have Tom Holland to do three trilogies. A trilogy of him in high school, a trilogy of him in college, and a trilogy him being older with Mary Jane, married with possibly a kid. So I'm looking forward to it, because we're going to get plenty of opportunity, and hopefully if things go the right way, we'll get Tom Holland for at least 3 more movies. So.
That'd be pretty crazy. 6 more movies would be wild. I don't know if I can't really think of an actor who's been in that many films in the same role before. So
Wolverine, Hugh Jackman.
That's true. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. There you go.
Oh,
decades with him.
And I forgot one from the releases. That black suit Spider-Man with the white emblem. I'm very excited about that one.
Hell yeah, dude.
And even though I think that they're using the Toby head on that one, if I'm not mistaken, but I ordered 2 of them. I ordered the deluxe and then just a basic one. So I may actually take a Holland head and stick it on that body, and have both of them, you know, with their black suits on. So.
Absolutely. Well said. Guys, let's move on, but I love the takes there. We've got 2 more things to really quickly address. Well, not really quickly. One quick, and then one I would like a discussion on a little bit with regards to Batman. But we still have 42 people watching. Thanks so much for sticking around with us here and getting us live on a Sunday. Love you guys. Appreciate you. This popped up this week, and I'm not going to go through the full panel on this. I just wanted to kind of highlight the fact that this has been released. This is the Kamen Rider with Bike. The photos here are fantastic. Whoever did the blogger photos here deserves a pat on the back. Really, really cool. I especially like the motorcycle, how it's lit up. Just some of the kind of, just like the wiring underneath and the engine. Like, it looks really, really, really cool. Like, even just some of the close-up shots here are fantastic. I've never seen Kamen Rider. I won't lie to you guys. But after hearing our buddy Loco Lou talk about this a little bit, kind of that it's got a Power Rangers-esque feel to it. I think that's kind of cool. I also love the look of the character. Just as, like, without knowing anything about the character itself, you could use him, in my opinion, as kind of a villain, like a baddie in the collection up against maybe one of your other heroes if you're not familiar with the character. So if this ever were to hit like a bargain bin, for example, it might be one of those things that it's like, if it was a right deal, it would be cool to still get it in hand, because objectively the figure is awesome, and I love the motorcycle. But just a little props here to Kamen Rider because, I mean, Ingenuity, I think it looks pretty good. And Hot Toys delivered on that one for the collectors who want this property in their collection. But this also popped up this week, and this is our final topic of the day, guys. But I'd be curious because on the Ben Thomas Show, I like to do a segment video called This or That. And I did a This or That on this video, on this figure this week, because not only have we not, like, this is our second time seeing this. This is a 2.0 Dark Knight Armory from the Dark Knight film. And it's got an updated Christian Bale head sculpt. It's also sporting an upgraded figure body as well as cowl. And I think it looks objectively very, very cool. The fact that it's a 2.0 doesn't necessarily bother me on this one because the 1.0 originally had 3 SKUs, but if you went with the kind of the more advanced SKU option of that original, it also would come with an Alfred. It came with more mouth plates for the Batman figure himself. So I think in terms of value, if you have the original, I think you're already winning. I think overall, the set itself, the actual display for the armory is about the same, with the exception of that inclusion of the USB. So now you can plug it in and light it up as opposed to having to put the batteries in it. I had that figure set originally, and while I loved it, what I was shocked about was how much space it actually takes up in the collection. It's a huge piece, and it's not even a vehicle. Like, you got to have some committed real estate for it. But the this part or that part is, of course, also the fact that we have another armory that we're waiting on from the Dark Knight series of films, from The Dark Knight Rises, and that's actually the clear acrylic armory that showed up in that film. And that comes with the power pose figure of Bruce Wayne with his arms bent and him in his gym shorts. People hate on that figure a little bit because of 2 reasons. Who wants Bruce Wayne in gym shorts? And he can't pose. He's a power pose figure. I actually think that makes that figure cooler, in my opinion. I don't have another figure in my display that can pose his arms this way. And because he's so seamless, I think it actually looks really real. And to display him with the armory like this is like with the picture on the right. When I think of that armory, this is exactly the scene that I think of. Him crossed with his arms, talking to Alfred, right? And Alfred trying to tell him, you're out. You got out of the game. Like, you're too old. Like, don't do it, basically. And it's a pretty great scene in The Dark Knight Rises, unlike his scene with Alfred from the original film with this armory, where he's kind of at his peak, right? He's just been able to defeat the League of Shadows, and he's peak Batman. But do we need both? Is it this? Is it that? Is it both? I don't know. I would argue you don't need both. What I worry about for collectors, though, is many of us put our money in already on the Dark Knight Rises set, because I think a lot of us didn't really expect us to ever get this one again. But I also wonder how many people actually prefer the Dark Knight film over the Dark Knight Rises and would have rather get this set instead, this newest one. So, Pete, I'll go to you first on this one. When it comes to Batman, I mean, we keep seeing Batman. They keep updating it. We had the DX19, and then for only about 8 months before we saw the Armory set, which featured all these upgrades and everything, and, you know, upset people. And now we've got 2 armories that feature a new Batman suit, but they're kind of paywalled behind these sets. Do you pick one? Is it one or the other? Is it both? What are your thoughts on this figure release or figure preview?
Yeah, it's it never fails to amaze me how popular this franchise still is. And you know, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the Nolan Batman films and everything, but I've never really been massively into collecting the figures. I did have the DX12 back in the day. It was, you know, that's one of my early figures, and it was decent at the time. But you know, so it's it does seem to be like a never-ending train. We're getting some more Jokers and stuff coming. So I think I do feel for the for guys like yourself, Ben, like massive fans of you know, the Dark Knight Rises, and you kind of want to have, I guess, like the definitive versions of these characters. And you know, Hot Toys have got previous on this, but you know, it's quite disconcerting when you've dropped your money on a purchase order, a pre-order, and then literally months later they go, here's what it really should look like. You know,
yeah,
it's sort of like they. How do you take that? Do you take it that they deliberately didn't bother to make the DX19 accurate, because that seems really weird.
How close together they are, yeah.
Did they just not take enough care? But the thing is with these high-end collectibles is that we assume and we pay for the fact that they are the most accurate. And I understand that figures from 10 years ago are more than overdue for a 2.0, because the technology's improved so much, and the techniques and stuff of producing the clothing, the head sculpts, the bodies, stuff like that, that's fine. But to do it kind of literally months afterwards, when I think is a kick in the balls to collectors. I mean, I guess this really comes down to which armory do you prefer. If you haven't already made your commitment, and you're looking, then which armory do you prefer? I think it's a fairly simple decision there. I don't like what they've done with the head sculpt. I don't know if it's just the paint, but he looks like, as people said before, he looks quite vampiric now. He's a bit pasty, a bit ill looking. I think it looked a bit better before. So I can't come at this with any passion, because I'm kind of not in this at all, and in a way I kind of sit back and go, thank God I don't collect this stuff, because it seems to be a bit of a roller coaster. And that ultimately the figures are improving from it, and they're getting better, but it's a bit of a bummer if you've already committed to a very high priced item, and then the next one comes out and you're like, I prefer that one.
Yeah, totally well said. I was curious what you were going to think about the likeness. I actually still think, and maybe this is a hot take, I think my likeness from my DX12 Bruce is actually still one of my favorite likenesses of Christian Bale, which is kind of wild, because as I said, like, this is so much more of an updated technology. You can tell in the paint applications and everything, but like, I still see him more in this photo, which is, that's, as I said, that's a 10-year-old figure now, which is pretty crazy. The other thing is
see the improvements in terms of getting it to look like a human, but I think there's something a bit off about sculpt. Yeah.
Well, and this is a different sculpt from the Ryza set, so I put them side by side in my this or that video, and it's definitely different. So I'm happy to see they didn't just reuse that, because he does look older in Ryzes versus the Dark Knight film. So, Classy Thomas, what are your thoughts of all the Batmans that Hot Toys have given us? How come they can't get it right at this point? Why do they keep giving us updates? How many more Batman do we have to buy before it's like accurate? Especially when you look at all these other characters that they make wonderfully accurate. Like, why is it taking so long? Or is it just because Batman is a moneymaker, so they can, kind of like Pete suggested, like, did they purposely not give it the treatment that it deserved in order to sell more? Like, what is up with that? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think it's just because it's a moneymaker, kind of like Iron Man. So I mean, I look at the two armories and I'm like, I mean, that's where I actually have the armory. Now I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I got a used one. I thought I bought it fresh, because when I opened up the armory, it didn't have, like, some of the drawers didn't have all the little things in it, and it didn't come with a suit or anything like that to hang up in there. So I was like, and then I sat and thought about it. Just like you said, it takes up a lot of space. I was like, why do I need this? I don't need this in here. So I'm kind of like, I'm bored. That's all I am. I'm just bored.
Yeah.
With this. So.
That's fair. I feel like a lot of people feel the same sentiment. Again, even for me, I'm a huge Dark Knight fan, like you guys said, and yet even me, I'm getting to the point of feeling fatigued by the collectibles from it. Like, I am ready to have the definitive one and move on to some of the other things. Like, they've given this film so much love but we still haven't got a Catwoman from the Batman film yet, the Robert
Thank you.
Pattinson one. Like, I'd love to see her. Like, give him some companion pieces instead, right? Like, start moving on a little bit. In terms of the real estate, you're absolutely right. It would take up a ton of space. So it's if there's that gut check of why do I need this, don't buy it. The only piss off though, Classy, is that both of these paywall then a better Batman figure behind them. And if the only other singular figure I can buy in order to upgrade my current DX12 Batman in the collection is an armory suit, well then I kind of feel like I'm kind of like shotgunned into it. Like I kind of have to buy this in order to get a better suit, which I really don't appreciate. I don't like that they've done that.
Right.
So, but again, are we going to get like a new DX number then with just the Batman himself at some point? Like maybe. And I could totally see it being after everybody's bought a second armory.
Well, the good
Like,
thing about though is that if you don't want the armor, you could always just sell it and keep the figure.
True.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's true. And like maybe that's exactly what I would have to do. It's really hard to say. But guys, that's the show for today. I want to thank my esteemed panelists. I can't do the show without you guys showing up week over week. I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much for being here. In terms of the 50 to 70 people we had watching live all throughout the show today, thanks for spending your Sundays with us, guys. I really appreciate that as well. We have a ton of Tough Nut members that are kind of slowly joining the channel. The Ben Thomas Show channel has been doing wildly well lately. It kind of caught the analytics over the last month. The show's actually done over 2 million views in the last 28 days. And 2,000 additional subscribers. So we're approaching 7,000 subscribers on the show here now. I'm going to be talking to Collector Zone here pretty soon about some giveaways at the 7,000 mark. I think we're about 150 to 200 subs away from 7,000. So wonderful numbers. I couldn't do it without you guys. And thank you so much for hitting the like button and helping the streams, helping the videos catch traction. But I also really want to shout out all of the other YouTube channels who have ever given me an opportunity to come on their shows, just like I would like to do for any of you new folks out there. If you're just getting started and you want to grow your channel, please let me know. I will give you the opportunity to come on the show, just like the guys out there like Will Foxification and Leal and Six Scale Mafia and Collecting Weekly, 16 Fix, all of those channels out there, and there's so many to be named. They gave me the shot to have a voice in the community, and I would not have been able to grow this channel without those people. So thank you to them, but also for the new folks. If you're interested in kind of growing your YouTube channel itself, if I can help you in any way and you're a stand-up person, let me know. I will definitely do so. But Pete, is there anything coming up for you, good sir, that we can look forward to? I know that Only Fools and Collecting is on a temporary break at the moment, but is there anything else coming up for you other than showing up every once in a while?
Yeah, no, we are in break mode at the moment, so we're just kind of regrouping and having to think about kind of where we're at. So we do intend to come back, possibly sort of towards the end of the year, maybe in a slightly different format. We're not sure yet, but at the moment we're just kind of just going completely not worrying about it, not talking about it, just doing our thing. Still both collecting, and I'll pop up on here whenever I can, and you might see me around and about, but so definitely very much still in the community. We're just having a bit of a refresh for OFAG, but I mean, thanks for everyone's support, and hopefully we'll be back later in the year.
Hell yeah, dude. Sometimes a bit of a break is actually kind of nice, just to recollect, get the passion for it.
Yeah, we've been doing it for sort of 6 years, so, it
takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
I always say, the panel helps me actually have a good show, but even in the background, it always takes me, like, I collect pictures all week for the show. Yeah. And then it's about 2.5 hours of putting slides together and everything for the actual presentation of the show. Yeah. And then the show itself is usually 2 to 3 hours. So it's 7 to 8 hours a week of commitment.
No, it's just a big commitment,
just to do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So.
And we were only doing it fortnightly as well. And that's still, hats off to the guys that are doing it 2-3 times a week. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, absolutely, dude. You're welcome here anytime. Thank you so much for always being such a good
Thank you.
panelist on Let's Get Nuts, and I'm excited to see your collection room as it kind of slowly comes together out of the dark.
Yeah,
it's very
that's
mysterious right now. So
yeah, no. Hopefully, hopefully going to order the new cabinets next week. So once all the figures are back, then there will definitely be a collection tour.
What sort of cabinets are you getting?
They're not anything that anybody would know. They're just from a UK company, but they're
okay.
they're aluminium and glass. They're a meter wide each. You're going to get 3 of them. They've got built-in lights and everything. They just look really nice. You know, a massive, like there's just nothing. It's just all glass. You know, so you're not losing any of the display or anything. So I'm really excited to get them actually. So looking forward to showing you guys the collection once it's all in its new home.
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Once again, thanks for being here, buddy. Classy Thomas, because Only Fools and Collecting is taking just a minor break at the moment, sounds like you've got a show that slipped right into that slot. Pause. Tell us about that and what's coming up.
Yeah. We are me and Chris Porteous. We are doing a kind of like a throwback to the old CW movie night.
Nice.
And so we've selected some of our favorites. Some of them are ones that might be a little off the beaten track, or ones that don't get as much love. And then I really enjoy horror, so I've kind of selected several horror movies that I absolutely adore, plus like a couple of B movies and stuff. And so we plan to do it every other week. We did one last week. This week will be Small Talk, and then we'll be back the following week on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the movie which we will be reviewing this next one, we did Aliens 3 this past week, and we will be covering The Evil Dead Rise.
Cool.
And so that will be there. So I hope those of you who joined us last week, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that more of you will come and join us and have a little fun, grab some popcorn, and let's talk about movies. We're not going to be showing clips, unfortunately. We're just going to kind of be discussing it because we want to generate interest to encourage you to go out and stream it, or just see the movie. Just see the movie, and if you hadn't heard about it, after hearing about it, hopefully it will encourage you to go there. And I'm currently working on a few things. Like I said, I got some new Maji cases, and I'm putting them up. But I also got my Daredevil figure in the past week. Yay!
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. So I might have to. I don't know. I'm really excited because that figure is incredibly awesome. So I'm kind of thinking I might need to at least do a short or something for it. So I might put something out there. And for those of you who in the United States have either served in the military, are currently serving, or have passed away as a result of your service, and to the service people's families, I just want to wish you all a happy Memorial Day tomorrow. And I hope it's full of remembrance and full of things to talk about the sacrifices that people make for their country. So we hope that all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Hell yeah.
Well
dude.
put,
Said,
Classy.
Classy.
Thanks
for adding that. Thanks for adding that. Yeah, that's very important. Here in Canada, we had our weekend last weekend. So, so yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And Classy, as always, buddy, I love you. Thank you so much for being here and bringing the energy, bringing the nuts, however you want to take that. I appreciate you either way. Last but certainly not least, Philly, you've been able to come to a couple shows now. We've always really enjoyed having you on. Always welcome here, buddy. Thank you so much for putting up the hand and being willing to jump in the show today. If you're not aware, Philly has his own channel. It's called Figurecraft. Make sure you check it out. Tell us what's coming up, good sir. I did highlight your vehicle video earlier in the show, but it needs more views because it's awesome. Tell us what's coming up for you, good sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ben. It's always a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I just released that Batmobile collection tour. It's kind of like a a tribute video for Yoast and the JAZZINC team for doing just amazing products. I got the Batwing, I got all the Batmobiles they've offered, including the Bat Signal. So got that going on. I will be doing another episode of Fig, Fix, and Chill. That's a live stream for photography and photographers
Nice.
for toy photography. So my first one was on, I think it was the weekend of May the 4th. I did a Star Wars one, and I ended up doing like a gajillion figures of Star Wars. So it was a little chaotic. So this time I'm going to go a little more conservative and probably just pick 1 or 2 figures to do a photography session. And it's anybody that's interested in photography, just come along, hang out on the stream. I'll show you the process of lighting, composition, and editing, and then posting it and all that fun stuff. I've really taken a liking to photography with toys, so it's something that I'm gonna probably keep pursuing. And once in a while, I kind of alternate. Like I'm thinking probably the next thing I'll do is some stop motion, and then the next thing I'll do another video tour. So from there, I like to kind of mix it up a little bit. So, but yeah, look out for that Fig, Fix, and Chill probably next week, and then also check out that Batmobile collection tour. Thank you.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And you're on the road to 1,000 as well after only just under 40 videos. So great job. Quality speaks immeasurably. Clearly people are liking what they're seeing. So let's get Philly to 1,000 subs as well. If you happen to be watching and you're not subscribed to Figurecraft, please go and do so, as well as my friends over here at Collecting Weekly and SpongeBob Square Balls. One last thing to mention, Jose G. Hernandez wanted us to be reminded as well, which is great. Thanks for doing that as well, buddy. He says, don't forget OSW in less than an hour, me and Austin versus the OSW Championship. That's on Nix_Collectibles YouTube channel. Awesome show every time he's put it out there, for sure. I love seeing all of us YouTubers, recreated and fighting each other. It's a lot of fun, guys. So I always typically pour myself a little drink and have some dinner and have a laugh and just honestly have fun with people in the chat. So I will be there in the chat watching for sure. Make sure you guys go and check that out. It starts here in about an hour. One last big shout out, and I mentioned you earlier, Lael. 1/6 Scale Man here. He says the dopest squad. I mentioned you because you're one of the folks out there in the community who gave me an opportunity to come on YouTube and have a voice and get to know people and have fun. And so for that, good sir, I appreciate you as well. Channel's getting big here, and I would love to have you on my show at some point. So let me know whenever you're free, good sir. He's one of the busiest dudes on YouTube. He's on a show like every night of the week. So I messaged him last week to be. Well, I messaged him last week to be like, dude, like it's not personal. I haven't invited you because I want you to be able to get a day off at some point. But if you ever want to come on, you just let me know, good sir, and we'll have you there. He says next week. I may take next week off because of my birthday. I might, but if it's not next week, I will definitely hit you up, good sir. But either way, hell yeah, we're gonna get Lael on the show here and get nuts with him at some point as well. Would love to do that. As I always say, Classy Thomas. It's been a day. We talked a lot about lightsabers and Star Wars and Batman and lightsaber vibrators for some reason. It was a wild show.
It just came to mind.
Yeah, but you know what? Either way, we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good.
What should I go? What should I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.